Welcome to Streaming from the Multiverse. I'm StarCraft, and we got a very special stream tonight. With me first are, to help me out with this, are Lola and Wendy, aka Unholy Spork.
Yay!
Hi.
Yep.
Hey!
And today we're going to be giving the floor entirely to Crystal McGee for her Indiegogo. The Good Night at a Nightmare Realm. And, well, McGee, introduce yourself and tell us a bit about it.
Hey, thanks for having me. My name's Crystal McGee, and I'm a writer. I do script doctoring and some freelance writing work as well. And I have a comic out called The Good Night.
Yep.
Oh, you can go ahead.
I was going to say, well, tell us a bit about it. I mean, I've seen the blurb a bit about it, about a medieval knight trapped in the form of a teddy bear and everything, but give us a bit more about it.
Sure. So it's a 48-page magazine-sized comic. So if you guys have ever seen like heavy metal, it's a lot larger than the normal. Yes, I love the film and the comic, but it's it's a bit larger than the regular comic size. And right now, it is planned to be 12 issues, and the script is finished. And for this first issue, we're halfway through with the art. Well, a little bit over half, because it's like 29 pages right now.
Oh.
And I think page 30 is coming next week.
Nice. And a little bit about the your artist, for example, because that artwork is amazing.
I know, I love it. Francisco Nardi. I hope I didn't butcher his last name, but he's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And he does a little bit of mixed media. He'll do some stuff digitally, and then he'll actually use charcoal and some other different art products to create that look on canvas, and then bringing that then into programs like Photoshop and Illustrator and tweaking that so it's a lot cleaner.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I gotta say, my favorite bits with some of the artwork is when you see Sir Alexander as a bear, and you just see him, go, but he's all like,
I know.
He goes into the cute, adorable bear. It's like, he's able to get that nastiness that you think, like, wait, we sure that's a teddy bear? Then we see him all like, ooh. Then you're like, yep, that's a teddy bear.
It's very expressive.
It is. And I gotta say, at least from the preview pages on the Indiegogo, Queen Belladonna, whew.
I know.
Yeah.
Wait till you get a little bit further in the story and it gets a little bit spicy, let's say.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Oh, jeez.
You guys say this is definitely right up my alley.
I think it's a lot of
Thanks.
people's alleys.
Like, the artwork's beautiful, the story concept's awesome. Like,
Oh, thanks. And I really love the textures as well, just what Francisco does with some of the charcoal. Like, for example, like Sir Alexander's fur. It's just crazy detail.
It is. It really is. And again, it looks like, well, a teddy bear, you would think.
Yep, a very vicious teddy bear.
So obviously, from given the sounding of, again, the description, it sounds like it's entirely fantasy, but still tied into a bit of medieval stuff, at least in the backstory.
Yeah, I mean, with the story, we kind of do some flashbacks to Sir Alexander's past. And when we do that, that's set in medieval times, and you kind of see how he got turned into a bear and what went down with that. And then you kind of flash forward to the present day, where he's now assigned to this kid and has to protect him from the Queen Belladonna.
Yep. Well, you two, Lola, Wendy, you two got any questions?
I want to know, how did you and Francisco hook up together to make this? Like, how did y'all meet and get this concept out?
Well, good question. I got referred to him by a friend because they saw some of his art on Facebook, and they're like, dude, this guy's really talented, and you should check him out if you have a project, because they knew I was looking for an artist. And so we kind of met that way through Facebook.
Well, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. And he's from Brazil too, so we kind of go back and forth. Nice.
Yep. So yeah. Now, is there does he know English, I assume, or is there a need for a translator or anything? Because I know some artists from that area need that.
No, he's pretty fluent.
Oh, that's good to hear. That makes it easy.
Yeah. That's always helpful.
Now, does he have a background in comics, or is this like his first and your first, or have y'all done something before? Or?
Well, he has some different published works, mostly some small press comic companies in Brazil. He has done some anthologies for the US, though. And I have some different, I've done a couple comics, but they're not released yet. This is kind of like The Good Night kind of starts the storyline and connects the other comics that I've created. But I have done some different screenplays and stuff, and you can kind of find that on IMDb. So I have some published work as well.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay, then. Well, as far as with this whole, again, with the ideas, let me just ask you a big question: why a teddy bear?
Well, with how he gets turned into a teddy bear, he's kind of doing this like, I guess you could say, he's sent by, let's say, a certain kind of historical folklore type figure.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sent to basically send intel back to his original master. And like along the way, he kind of gets caught up in all of this stuff. And it's a child king. So the child king turns him into a teddy bear. And it's like a kind of like a replica of the one that the child king had. So it was just kind of like a spiteful thing that a kid would do, I guess. If they have a lot of, magical powers. And yeah.
Yeah, quick question. There's someone in the chat asking to come in. Chain Shark Media. Do you know who that is?
Chain Shark Media. I don't think so.
Just asking, because they were saying how they were doing art and all that, so just wanted to see. Do you know who that is? Oh, there sounds like there's a delay.
Sorry. That was me. I was pulling up the chat so I could see.
Okay. No problem. I just wanted to check to see, because I'd never seen that person, so I was just curious, that's all.
Okay.
Okay, but yeah, with it. So maybe explain a little more, again, without getting the spoilers, like this whole Dragon King, is that the main big bad and all that? Or is it more like the greater threat, but Belladonna's still the big bad?
I'd say Belladonna's definitely still the big bad, but the Dragon King is definitely not somebody you want to mess with, let's say.
Right.
And as far as not getting too much into spoilery detail,
right.
The Dragon King doesn't technically have a body yet. Mm-hmm. So she's kind of kidnapping Jack and kind of planning to use him in this type of sacrifice ritual to bring him back.
Right.
So he's using him as like a vessel for the Dragon King's soul?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool. I like that type of story where it's like, oh, because you don't even know how it's going to play out, even if they do succeed.
Yeah.
Like always so many unanswered, like, oh yeah, the bad guy thinks it's going to go this way. But what if it doesn't?
Or you don't know how much of their personality is going to make it over before the transfer stopped.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sorry, we're not trying to guess the plot. We're just throwing out, other cases.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Just like in other cases I've seen, you kind of have that sitting in the back of your head.
Uh-huh. And with this whole thing, like the Dragon King's been asleep for so long. And Jack, the kid that you kind of see in those first couple of preview pages, his dad was actually part dragon. And he was set, and he's set to rule their specific realm. But the dad decided to deuce out and leave to restart his life over on Earth.
Oh, that's
so when you see those first couple of preview pages, that's on Earth, and his child's getting kidnapped from Santa Monica, California.
Oh,
to get dragged to their home world. So yeah,
you are putting out so many nice, nice fantasy ideas here. I mean, seriously, this is just what you're explaining is good.
Thanks.
So, Crystal,
hopefully you guys enjoy my writing as well.
Oh, I think a lot of people will. It already sounds just from the ideas alone. Again, it sounds like it's gonna be very good.
Crystal, would you consider this a kid-friendly book or more teen and appropriate?
I'd probably say it's definitely mature.
Okay.
But most of the time, like, it's only a couple of scenes that I would say are like mature. Like, think if there's a rated R film, but there's a lot of just people getting, cut up, stuff like that.
Okay.
Basically like Lord of the Rings if it was rated R.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison.
For the gore and the violence as opposed to like sexual situations then.
Yeah, because throughout the whole 12-issue script that I've written, there's only probably 3 instances spread out where there would be that type of situation.
All right.
Which is like 2 pages in this issue, and then the 5th issue, there's 1 scene, and then the last issue, which would be the 12th, there's a scene there. But it's like only like 1 or 2 pages at the most, if any. Sometimes it's just, like it's not that big of a deal, but the story kind of requires it for where we're going in some scenes. But yeah, mostly just people getting cut up. Like, definitely that sword is going to get some use from Sir Alexander.
Oh, that's the other thing with Sir Alexander, that he's going to stay that bear form the whole time, right? Or
yeah. I mean, besides the flashbacks where you learned how it happened, yeah, that's his permanent body now.
Oh, geez, I'm just imagining him in the bear form with the sword, like.
Yeah.
Just imagine like Winnie the Pooh trying to be like a knight.
That's awesome.
That's what it looks like with Sir Alexander. He looks like badass Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Did that ever come into any of your idea for this? Like, what if Winnie the Pooh was a badass helping Christopher Robin?
Well, it kind of came about. If any of you guys have seen the anime Akira.
Oh, yep.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a hospital scene where one of the main characters is in there, and he kind of encounters like this little teddy bear and this bunny and this toy car.
Yeah.
And they it's like real trippy, psychedelic kind of, but you find out that there's actually child ghosts or entities connected to those specific toy objects. So I thought that would be interesting if you kind of expanded on those that kind of concept.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Now, different question is, I noticed on your avatar you have VHS Killers, and I know there was a poster for that in the preview pages.
Good question.
Yeah, what is VHS Killers?
Well, that's a different, like I said, The Good Knight's going to kind of be this bridge for the other comics that I have like completely finished. You're going to kind of see where they fall on this timeline. So The Good Knight's kind of an indicator. And the VHS Killers is another series that I have. It's a graphic novel, but it's finished, and it's about these 2 brothers and a sister. And the 2 brothers are in a heavy metal band. And it kind of follows, it's like, I'd say like a kind of a traditional horror, but it kind of shows at this point in time, the band's established enough to have posters in a 15-year-old's room.
Ah.
Huh.
Yeah. So
That's
then you kind of see what timeline you're running with when you read the graphic novel. You're like, oh, okay, so this is when they're actually active. And that that story will tackle like a lot of different kind of like demonic possession, stuff like that. And of course, heavy metal. So
I gotta say that you put a lot of thought into this.
I know.
Hey, I'm right there with you. I have my own little fictional universe where I have so many stuff that's interconnected as well. And it's like, okay, I want to introduce this, but I also want to introduce this character, but I don't want to introduce them both when they're starting out. But when I introduce them here, they're going to be a little step. It's like, where do you find a way of introducing them all at the right point of time? And compared to, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I had that kind of issue too, because I have like two comics that are finished, and I was kind of like, I know I want all of these to fit together in the same universe. How do I make it work? And
Mm-hmm.
I think to do that, you kind of have to create a starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And which is kind of what I'm doing with this. The Good Night kind of sets the precedent for what where different stories will go later on. So you definitely need to create a point for stuff to jump off of, and then follow that to wherever that leads. So then that means that, okay, the Good Night's going to kind of start everything. So now I have to go back and change or rewrite whatever needs to happen to make this work.
All right. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Start with basically what I keep on hearing people sometimes say. Start with what you think is the strongest story, even if it happens to happen down the line, and then start with bringing in the other stuff that works around it. But you need a good, strong, out the gate starting point. Not start with what you think is chronologically makes sense, but then it ends up being not the strongest story.
Exactly. Because, I mean, if you started with something that's like more of an origin story, kind of like the VHS Killers comic graphic novel will be, then you're kind of spending all of this time building up and not a lot of time actually jumping in to the story as compared to having characters within your story already active, before their story actually starts.
Yeah, boy, this again tells me so much about how you've got a lot of knowledge. You said you were a script doctor before, so it shows you got a lot of knowledge from the industry.
Yeah, and it's
what kind
crazy.
of a job is a script doctor, if you don't mind me asking? I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, no problem. Basically, you can either do it freelance or like through a company. And currently I'm freelance, but people will send you their script, whether it's film or television, what have you. And you basically take their script and you fix it. And that might mean, making the story work, fixing the, formatting. So it looks more, it looks better when the people who are sifting through the script see it. And correcting spelling errors, stuff like that, general story, mistakes and snafus, basically.
Carrie Fisher was a script doctor, from what I understood. Like, she was a well-regarded one, as well as an actress and everything.
Yeah. Do you think that kind of a position and that kind of a job like makes it harder for you to read other people's comics or easier?
I'd say sometimes it makes it a little bit harder, but I don't know. Overall, I don't notice it as much. One thing I do notice is like, I guess experience-wise, people don't really get how much script doctors actually fix. And like, let's say I've got to be careful.
You don't want to give specifics, right?
Exactly. All those NDAs, but vaguely, I can say that I got a feature film script a couple months back, and it was over 100 pages. I think it was like roughly 130. and I overhauled about 2/3 of the script.
Wow.
And it's currently getting optioned by
Oh,
a fairly well-known TV writer,
Wow.
as well as on a couple of writers' room teams. So yeah,
nice.
a lot of times you don't get credit for it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's crazy.
Hey, it's still something
But
you
it's
like
fun.
doing. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's fun going through scripts and seeing how they change, especially from the script to eventually if they do get picked up, because it's rare, seeing how that changes once it goes on the screen.
Right.
So how
Now,
many times have you had to change your own script?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely a lot.
we're our own worst critics.
Exactly. And it's almost like you're even more like you're harder on yourself because you're like, I should know how this should work. And yeah, definitely a couple overhauls for sure.
Right. Now, as far as with Comicsgate and everything, how did you get involved with all of this stuff? Because I don't think I saw much of you until you were bringing your project around. So I'm just curious, like, how long have you been in? Have you been a lurker for a while, or or what? Like, what got you involved with it?
Well, I definitely say I definitely noticed that the quality, as far as the writing and the art in comic books, has definitely been a decline for a while now. I'd say like I noticed kind of 2015-ish, and I was just surprised because usually, like I've been a comic book fan since I was a kid. My dad got me hooked on it through Transformers, GI Joe, and some
Good
other
books,
DC
good books.
titles. I know Ninja Turtles,
Mm-hmm.
the original black and white run.
Yep.
But I was just shocked because there was a lot of great stories, especially by Stan Lee, Chris Claremont, Jack Kirby, fantastic artist. It was just crazy how it declined. And it was almost like a rapid decline, like you didn't see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have now where it's just almost unreadable for me, a lot of this stuff. And like the art can't even save it half of the time
Mm-mm.
because
Yeah.
the art looks rushed and it's just insane. And I guess as far as Comicsgate, like I was looking for a comic book review to see if the comic was even good. And then I found Richard's channel, Diversity in Comics,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of started there. But as far as like, I don't know, like I go by It's McGee on YouTube. So I hop into a lot of chats. People probably noticed me there, but they don't know, I guess, my full name.
Mm-hmm.
So like once I say It's McGee, they're like, oh yeah, I've seen you around. So I guess it's just more not as active on Twitter as much before though.
Gotcha.
But definitely on YouTube.
All right. So, and yes, I mean, everyone from what I've been hearing, you've been getting along with everyone. That's always great to hear. But have you ever had any interactions with any of the pros on Twitter or anything, or have you been trying to keep out of that?
I don't know. Like I love seeing the different things that pop up. And I'm a pretty chill person. I'll work with anybody. Don't start too much trouble, but I don't know. I kind of stay out of it unless it's just something that's totally nuts. But then it's mostly just me trolling.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Like I do it. I do
So
it
you
just to
enjoy
troll.
watching the drama, just not partaking in it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Like I might post a meme. Like I might post a meme, but that's as far as it'll go.
yep.
Yay, I found a friend.
Mhm. Hey, that's me in a lot of ways. That's usually for the longest time I try to stay out of the trouble until the trouble got towards me and then made it personal, and it's like, ah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm always in trouble.
Oh, hey, we know that. We know that.
Like my mother probably should have named me Trouble.
Oh, jeez. And I especially love just you know what the war campaign does, because that kind of like the LARPing.
Yeah.
I love it. And especially just you know, like online there's different like text-based groups where like you'll create a character and then you just kind of text back and forth across message boards as a character. And I really love what they do because it's like so reminiscent
Yep.
of that.
Oh, that very true. Very true.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've got to say, just one thing I want to get out of the way very quickly. I'm kind of glad it looks like a lot of stuff is, you know, any infighting or trying to turn people on each other is finally starting to settle down.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like you're more and more having people realizing who's really truly on the wrong side or not, and not a case of like, oh, this person was done wrong, so we should totally. Then they're starting to realize, wait, this person's going after someone who's good. Why am I siding with this person?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm kind of grateful that it's starting to calm down, you know, in that regard. I mean, we already got two, well, okay, one really notorious name, and then another one who was already becoming a bad name, both one being shut down and then one shutting himself down. Not going to name names.
Yeah.
But, you know, and funny enough, I will say this, it's ironic that both of them were kind of brought down after going after Nerdette.
Yeah, that was kind of strange, wasn't it?
It was. It's like, you picked the wrong person.
It's almost like somebody was behind the scenes.
Like it was targeted.
Yeah, let's not make this let's not turn this into a conspiracy video. That could be that could be next stream. That could be next stream if we want.
Oh jeez. But yeah, it's just crazy how people will attack other people that aren't even involved in the initial like situation. It's
Nobody wants to educate themselves on what's really going on. They just want to all point fingers and blame.
Yeah, and it can be fun at sometimes. I mean, stirring the pot is a little bit of fun, but occasionally.
Hey, on a different note, I was looking through the Indiegogo and I noticed that you once had another project, Think, Create, Repeat. You remember can you mind explaining about what happened with that one?
Yeah, well, that was going to be kind of like a web series, but it's since been turned into a comic, actually. So it's in the same universe, and you'll see some of the characters that were going to be introduced in the web series actually in the Good Night.
That sounds good. And that's always the best way to go. Take something that was getting started but didn't go so well, and then just, you know, try and rework in another form.
Yeah, and like when I started it, I guess you know, it was kind of new as far as like, you know, crowdfunding and stuff like that. And I definitely should have put more time into it and a little bit more thought. I thought the layout was all right, but there's definitely a lot of stuff that could have been changed. That I think has been kind of corrected now with this one.
Right, and you learned, and hey, at least I will say this: at least there was a nice gap between then and now. That way, some people won't be thinking, "Oh, hey, wait a minute, she had one fail, so she's trying again, or so soon." It's like, no, she's clearly had a couple of years past. She's learned, so, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, you can always learn something. You know,
I wish some people in the comic industry could learn something.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, jeez.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, you recently, like a while ago, extended the time, and hopefully being on, for example, this stream and being on others will gets the ball rolling a bit more, because seriously, from everything I've been seeing, I really hope this goes through.
Oh, thanks.
So what are some of the tiers you can buy into on the Indiegogo?
Let me go over to it real quick. The first one is the digital, which is starts at $5, and that's just a digital copy. The second one it starts at $15, and the shipping for the US is in your price. Everywhere else, I believe it's 15. So then it's if you just want the single comic sign, that's 15. And shipping's included in that. And then the next tier, which is the page tier, is cover A and cover B for $25. And after that, the Squire tier is 2 signed cover A's, 2 signed cover B's, and a t-shirt. And the t-shirts will be made in-house. I actually have a ton of, I kind of do it part-time, but screen printing and stuff like that, sublimation. So I'll be taking care of those. And we've done like large orders of, 100 to 500 shirts before, working through different companies and doing our own stuff. So, and then the last tier, I kind of call it the family pack, which is the night tier, which is 4 signed cover A's, 4 signed cover B's, and 2 shirts.
Nice.
Yeah. Can you tell us what's going to be on the shirts, or is that?
The shirt that you'll see, it should already be on the campaign. Let me.
Yeah, but it looks like it's cover B.
Yeah, it's cover B, but it'll be just a little bit different with some text.
Okay.
But you'll have that exact cover B image, just kind of warped around some text.
Yep. See, that sells me on it right there. Like, I'm one that's all about the shirts and the.
I am too. I love t-shirts, especially comic book ones, like where they have the actual cover as the shirt, like those old retro Spider-Man ones.
Oh yeah, I love those shirts.
I know. I have so many. Like that's basically my entire wardrobe, just like comic book shirts.
Yep. Yeah, I don't care for any of the recent shirts where they took like Secret Wars and then they, because of licensing, they edited out the Fantastic Four and all that. And it's like, dude, what the hell?
Yeah, I don't.
How dare you change my exact artwork to look like something else?
Or where they just do like the logo on the shirt and you're like, I don't know if I just want the large Avengers A on the shirt.
The only time I could ever accept that is the Deadpool symbol logo on the shirt.
Yeah,
that is cool.
Yeah, that's a little bit more legitimate.
Yeah, whereas the Avenger A, you're like, so what?
Exactly. It's A.
Hey, on a different note, it's a little off topic, but since we have you here, I just want to get anyone's opinion on, anyone hear about George Perez retiring?
No, when did that happen?
He just announced, and given how his health has been doing, I'm not that surprised.
Oh, wow. What's been going on with his health?
His eyes aren't doing well. I think, he's had carpal tunnel for quite a while. I think he does have diabetes or something. Yeah, just not that been great with him, man. The last time I heard about him, well, one was he was not going to be going to conventions in any red states. That was in 2016. Then one of the conventions he said basically, after I'm done with my con schedule, I'm not going anywhere. But then he canceled all of his cons because he was falling ill, and I haven't heard anything until today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if we end up losing him, that's a major blow. I mean, granted, he hasn't done much since Earth working on Teen Titans, but I was going to say Earth 2, when he worked on Earth 2 with Paul Levitz. And then he did like a little solo book, and then I think his health just got bad, really worse.
Like, wasn't he mostly doing covers?
Mostly doing covers, and like I said, an indie book. I forgot what the indie book is called, but... And
commissions, too.
Yeah, I got a commission from him when he was last year at Motor City Comic-Con.
That's awesome. What'd you have him draw, dude?
I had him draw one of my characters.
Oh,
I always do that. I always go to conventions. I'll share it with you later. But yeah, I just, had him look at some of my characters. I always have pros do them because I always want to see how would they look under other pros. And sometimes they make additions that I didn't think about. I'm like, I'm adding that in. I'm adding it to the character.
Even better, like from a business perspective, then you could use that art as like, let's say you fix it up and then it ends up being a cover.
A cover or, and it's like, hey, I commissioned it.
Yeah, some of them are for your campaign, like kind of like a pinup, something like that.
Exactly. That, I mean, I didn't think about it actually until you said that now, and that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, because I do plan eventually myself. making my own Indiegogo book, because I do have a friend of mine who does artwork he's finally finishing up college this semester or so, and then after that I'll be hopefully having him help me out. If not, I have another fallback artist who could help out, but most of these guys are really good at handling this type of stuff, and yeah, I'm just a writer.
Same.
Yep. I mean, granted, I haven't done any professional writing, and I haven't done anything in your capacity either, but I'm always been at the very least an idea person, and in my case, I need a co-writer. My mind goes all over the place. I need someone to rein me in.
And that's one thing. Like, there's definitely, you're a writer, but there's definitely fields that or genres, let's say, that you're a lot better in than somebody else. And I think it's important to kind of realize that. And if you're like, hey, I mostly, do horror and fantasy, it'd definitely be helpful if I'm doing like a crime noir to have somebody come on the script with me that would help out with that, if that's not your area of expertise. So yeah.
Yeah, and that is always the better thing. I mean, or in my case, it's working on something that I know, like I'm good with sci-fi, but say if I was given something that was from Halo and I know very little about the Halo lore because I don't play it, it'd be like, okay, I got a friend here who knows it better. Help me out, man.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of writers, I don't know what you'd call it, but they kind of get defensive and they're like, I don't want somebody else to come in. Like, I'm already a good writer.
Oh,
but they're not the right fit for that genre.
Oh, you mean kind of like Zoe Quinn recently was Goddess Mode?
Yes.
Seriously, I saw Nerdette's review of it. It's like, I couldn't even get through her reading about it.
And the art was it was definitely a different style.
It looked like Barbie vomited all over the pages is what it looked like. It was way too bright.
Well, see, the thing is that they used to have a Barbie comic. I forget if it was through Marvel or
Marvel
DC.
in the 80s.
Okay, yeah, but it was like ongoing, and the art in that old Barbie comic.
Maybe they just need to use up those colors.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, but it's like one of those. It's like, as I commented on Nerdette's video for it, I even said this. Look, I get it. I know they say if you're going to write one comic, one story, put everything you ever want to do into it, but at least make a cohesive story out of it.
Yeah, don't do it all at once.
Don't do it all at once, and don't actually just slam it all in, just saying like, bleh.
And I think there's definitely like a formula to good comics and, good scripts in general, where there's the 3-act structure. And if you think of it like an episode of television, you kind of start out, you kind of come in fast. It's like, okay, we're here, stuff happens. And then you cut to the middle. And by the end of the episode, it should slightly wrap up with some connecting threads into the next episode.
If it's that kind of show, anyway.
Yeah. If it's exactly, if it's that type of show, like a narrative,
Yeah, that's always been that's always but that's always been my preferred type of story. And yet I always am impressed when I'm able to see shows that have a ongoing narrative, but it's all episodic, like a Danny Phantom or something, where it's like each one you could jump in at any time. If you watch it all the way through, hey, bonus.
Yeah, exactly. That's what And
that's always been my influence when I come up with writing. It's always these setting the seeds, but don't have a payoff until you need it to.
I kind of miss the old comic book formats, where you could jump in at any point and sort of understand what's going on. Like you didn't need to read 5 billion other books to understand what's going on in one.
Exactly. Or like there's a little caption recap sometimes, like a sentence or two.
Editor's note.
Exactly. And then it's like, bam, okay, I read this couple of sentences, we're back into the story.
And the funny thing of all though is you have all of these people there who could technically write, who nowadays people can actually go online and find out stuff. People don't want to, or it's way too confusing still for them to find out.
Or they want everything to be handed to them on a plate of what's going to go on and what they need to know. They don't want to research.
Exactly. Whatever happened to patience is a virtue.
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah.
But But yeah, like I said, from everything you've explained about with all this, it does sound like you are trying to bring back that old feeling, and you're with your own ideas, of course. And yeah, I really cannot wait. I just think, I mean, I haven't backed it yet. I will very soon. Just been all caught up with a whole bunch of other things. But I like the price point also that you put down for it. It's like, yeah, you're not going way too out there, despite even with the size, and you have it nice and reasonable.
Yeah, and I mean, it also helps because I have like experience with shipping large amounts of, product, especially like with t-shirts. It's like, okay, you just did a big t-shirt order. Now I've got to ship all these out.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely helps. And then knowing that system and knowing, how much the post office is going to charge, how much UPS is going to charge, FedEx, whatever. It definitely helps when you have some insight into that. So then you can get a better price point for people.
Yeah, which has probably been the one downside with some of these other Indiegogos. I will openly admit it that some of these people that are doing it for the first time, or they're doing it under different circumstances, yada, yada, yada. And yeah, what are you going to do the first time around, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But again, and you've got the experience. That's more than a lot. And that shows, you have a better, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she has the experience to know if this plan doesn't go through, the other ones will.
Yep.
So my question is, you said it's 12 parts, right?
Yes.
Okay, so are you crowdfunding all 12 parts, or is there going to be like...
It will be all 12 parts, but I'm trying to get it where once we make the goal, it'll be like 2 comics at a time. Okay. So then the first crowdfunding will fund the second one.
Gotcha.
It'll kind of roll over.
Right.
Gotcha.
So,
that makes sense.
Yep. Right. So basically, it's like this first one is also, well, obviously to see if there is a market there anyway, like the desire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because like why bother if it's not going to go?
Market there for this. I definitely think with people playing games like Skyrim and being into medieval, like LARPing and stuff.
Yes, yeah, LARPing.
Like I definitely think you've got an audience there. Like I'm definitely into it. Like to me, it sounds like it has a bit of a Jim Henson meets like horror.
Labyrinth.
Feel.
Yeah, it's like Labyrinth or Pan's Labyrinth kind of feel to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. So it seems to have that feel to me, which draws me into it, and like, I'm really looking forward to see how this goes and how it goes forward.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, and the art honestly, the art reminds me of like the older covers that Dave McKean used to do for the Sandman.
Yes. Comics. I absolutely love Sandman. That's awesome that
his art just reminds me of that so much.
His art's very clean too. It has a very clean look to it. It's not.
Yeah.
And I love Alex Ross as well.
Oh yeah.
His stuff is always fantastic. I love it.
Yep, but yeah, it was 12. It's issues. I mean, one, yeah, that's a lot of prep time. And is there ever going to be a point where you're going to ever take, people's feedback for later issues or whatnot, or anything like that?
I think definitely after the first one is out, that's always a good time to kind of see what people think, and if there's anything that kind of needs tweaked later on. Like a big part of writing, I think, is getting feedback from other people as well as your target audience. Because if they don't like it, you're going to know.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, like, especially when those who kind of start off with one thing and then as it's going on, they think like, nope, I'm sticking to my vision, even though some people do it. Now, I will say this, give a little fair advice from what I've noticed. There's a case where sometimes you don't also want to cater too much to like just one part of the backers if it's like a small part. Trust me.
That is true as well.
Yeah, because trust me, I have been backing that System Shock Kickstarter. Yeah, that kind of became a mess because they decided to cater to one group who decided, they were starting to go like we're going to stick true, but not make it a 1-for-1 remake. And then you had like a vocal port saying, no, we wanted it to be a 1-for-1 remake. And they decided, okay, we'll go back to that. And they lost a lot of the money, so they had to scramble.
I think you definitely need a balance. and you definitely shouldn't go out and change too much.
Right.
Like if you just kind of fix a couple problems that people brought up that are smaller that you think can make a difference, that's probably a more effective use of that time.
Right. So, and now you mentioned VHS Killers. You mentioned the other one that was based off of your other Kickstarter, and you have this one. What other products or titles and all that do you have in mind in this shared universe, or is it just those three so far?
Well, there's more, but I'm not going to say too much. But what I can say is there's two characters in The Good Night, Atticus and Cassandra, and they're sirens.
Ooh.
So basically, those are kind of like the more deadly version of mermaids, kind of bringing people from the ships and dragging them under.
Oh, yeah,
and
those types, yeah.
I know. And it's called A Siren Song as the working title. But the artwork, as well as the lettering, everything for that has been completed. And I actually had a couple of test copies of it.
Nice.
It's definitely, it's pretty cool. It's just the printer that I went through.
Right.
Kablam. It's not the best quality,
Oh.
but the formatting and all of that was good, though.
Good to hear. Good to hear. And well, you mentioned a siren because I've heard some people where the siren looks normal, but I've also heard some version of a siren where they have their the hair covering their face. You get in close, big teeth.
Like this is definitely, I'd say it's half and half. Like they look kind of human, but not really.
Right.
Where you kind of see the human characteristics, but it's definitely more animal in nature, I guess you could say. And you'll see them in the first issue towards the end of The Good Night. So you'll get to meet them. And that book, like after I publish at least this first issue, I'll be able to put out a siren song or whatever we change the title to, because that's just the working one. I'll be able to put that out on, Comixology and other places like that. Just needed a starting point, basically.
Now, do you ever plan on doing releasing this beyond Indiegogo? Like you plan on doing it through Amazon or anything like that?
Yes, Amazon and Comixology. And the accounts and UPC codes have already been purchased and prepped. So
nice.
Yeah. Definitely, I'm pretty big on, kind of branching out. And I think it'll be helpful to people and readers, going forward if we can get, our comics onto things like Amazon, Comixology, because the Comixology process is actually surprisingly, once you get through kind of the tax paperwork portion, it's really smooth and ironed out.
Right. And nice. Now, are you ever afraid about people who are going to, the whole having things, like the criticism, but if they do the unfair criticism, are you at all prepared for anything like that coming your way? Because I know there are some people who are, but then they don't expect to get as much of it, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I just want to ask if you feel like you're ready for that, or you know.
I'd say so. I mean, just like with writing and scripts and stuff, like you do a script, it's not going to be perfect the first time, and you'll get notes, whether it's for whoever you're fixing the script, whether it's the studio or whoever wants the script, you're going to get notes. And you have to go through and make changes according to what they want or maybe what you want. And I guess you could kind of say, like, kind of critiquing or criticism. It's kind of part of the job. So,
okay.
And, it also helps. I mean, even people doing bad reviews or like where they're purposefully just kind of, out to get you, they still bought a copy or they're giving you some type of, advertisement. So it's still not that bad of a deal.
Okay, I just felt I needed to ask that. That's all. You never know.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, I assure you, though, I am definitely going to when I will put money down for it, and I do plan on reviewing it. And I will be honest with my review, but given everything you said, I think it's going to be a glowing review.
Oh, thanks.
Yep. I'm not going to promise. I'm just telling you from
Yeah,
hearing.
exactly. Always be,
Yep.
if there's criticism that needs to be made, it's always better people are honest with you and upfront. I always appreciate that a lot because good criticism will actually improve you as a person and whatever you're working on.
Yep. If you ask me, I think that's part of the reason why a lot of the writers these days, especially the pros who become the curmudgeons, Mark Waid, Eddie Wood, they always got just nothing but praise.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're getting that much praise like your first try, that's kind of a red flag.
Yeah.
For me at least. Because it's
know.
like, just with scripts, there's so much going on, different storylines, especially if it's a film, or a television series. It's like there's so much going on. You're going to have to change something at some point.
Right.
Like you're not just going to ace it on the first try.
Oh, and hey, that's like I said, when I do my Indiegogo, even though I'm going in with my best character, at least as far as what everyone seems to show an interest in, I'm still expecting it like, yeah, I'm going to try and put in what I can, make it all done in one, but make sure, at the same time, I'm not banking on everyone who is going to, oh, greatest thing ever. Like, no, I'm not banking on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps. It might encourage me to speed it out faster, but at the same time, it's like, no, everyone's going to be a critic.
Yeah, and you definitely need critics. Like one of the things that I think is hurting comics and film to some extent is that there's not as many like kind of traditional critics. Like you have a lot of people who are like, let's say YouTube personalities or, stuff like that, maybe film enthusiasts, but not particularly, comic book critics, film critics. It's a lot of just people that are fans of it reviewing stuff compared to somebody that's their job. Their job is to kind of pick this apart and let you know where it kind of places and what they think as far as the structure of the medium.
Right.
And I think that's definitely missing. And comics, I don't think they've really had anything as far as kind of like critics that they kind of do that as their, their main thing.
I would say early websites back in the day used to, like early CBR, early Newsarama, early Silver Bullet comics.
Yeah, but now a lot of that is fading away and I think this all kind of goes back to people can't take criticism like at all nowadays.
No,
like
they can't.
even they get offended by jokes that are, fairly mild jokes. And some of them aren't even well thought out jokes or like they're just kind of lame.
Yeah.
But you're getting upset at the subpar joke.
Any creator in any medium, like a good one, will tell you that they need to know where their weaknesses are so they can improve.
Exactly.
And if somebody's just sitting around patting you on the back and telling you everything's great, how are you to ever know what you need to improve on?
Exactly. Or if someone's trying to give them criticism and everyone's like, how dare you say that?
Yeah, well, like now all the criticism is considered harassment of some sort. It's not considered criticism. It's like...
Yeah, that's definitely a problem now.
If I say I don't like your artwork because it looks like something my 5-year-old could do, then maybe there's a problem there.
Now,
it's not me wanting to harass you. It's just telling you I think the artwork's crap.
Yeah, now, of course, there are cases of some people go overboard with the, like, oh, you're a hack, and they tag them in, and it's like, okay, guys, come on, really? I'm always of that belief of the do unto others, and I say that goes both ways. But at the same time, yeah, when you have then some who do the overreact, like, I didn't much care for it, it's like, yeah, those are the ones I have a problem with. When it's always like, oh, fucking suck, hack, you, what did you sleep, that whole thing. There's a reason why some of that stuff did come about. I know.
I mean, another thing, too, is that with all this stuff, some of the critics that are still around.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in film, I see this as a huge problem in video games as well. Like the people who review stuff, they give what I like to call goodie bags.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
kind of like, and even in comics, like recently there was a new reboot of Shazam, kind of like leading up to the film that's coming out soon. And they sent like reviewers like uh kind of like a trade paperback, I think.
I
That
think
was
it was.
like
I think it
from
was the it was a
the
trade
previous
of the
year.
Oh, I thought it was a trade of the stuff that was the backup stories in Justice League beforehand. It was basically like this was the last time Jeff Johns worked on Shazam leading up into this.
So
Yeah, it
basically,
could
they
have
buy
been.
good reviews.
Either
Yeah.
that, or you could have also think of it
And
as
there was like a hat as well and some
okay,
other
in that
items,
regard,
if
yeah.
I'm not mistaken. And that's a huge problem in video games too. Like this Mortal Kombat 11 that's coming out this year, like in April. They
Paying
sent
extra
different
for that.
reviewers. I know. I'm excited for that too.
Oh, I
But
know.
they sent out like a huge like box and it was full of like Mortal Kombat goodies from what I saw.
Oh boy.
And like some of the stuff was like figures and if I'm not mistaken, like t-shirts and other stuff like that.
Yeah,
To
it's
the
a reason.
people that will be playing and reviewing, the stuff.
So basically, like you can't give an honest review because you have to like it because you're getting the merchandise.
Exactly. And I mean, I've worked with a lot of SAG actors that, and stuff like that. And there's even issues there when they're doing all these voting, for these award shows. They get these huge packages and it's
Mhm.
like box sets, the limited edition version of the film that they're going to be, voting for.
Oh,
And
geez.
like all of this, like magazines, like film magazines, all sorts of additional material to kind of sway you. And, iPads, stuff like that when you get into the bigger award shows. Like, it's insane. Like, you guys can look this stuff up. It's wild. So
have you
even
heard about that one $300 package for the new Mortal Kombat that's supposed to be coming out?
oh yeah, like
Oh
you
yeah,
can
hey,
pre-order it.
I will say this though, that sounds still, at least they're going to include the game, I hope, unlike other people like Ubisoft, where it's like, you pay for this big set, but you don't get the game. You have to still pay 60, $100 for the game. It's like, why don't you include the game with it?
But I mean, I bought like what was it for Arkham Knight? Like
Arkham
a
Knight, yeah. Oh geez, like,
Rocksteady.
I
Yeah,
would have loved to have been here.
I bought like the limited edition of that, and I believe there's like a figure, but it was all kind of like cheaper
yeah.
materials. Like none of it was high quality, like what you think you'd be paying maybe 250 roughly
Yeah.
for with the price of the game. Like a lot of the stuff you could get wholesale kind of cheaply put together and sourced out from some other places that's kind of their their job. They kind of do that type of stuff. It's
That's
crazy.
still kind of tacky, all they're doing is giving you a steel case, a 1-to-1 scorpion mask, and then the game. That's it.
But can you even wear the scorpion mask?
My 5-year-old probably could.
Supposedly humans.
Like I bought a Watch Dogs, the first Watch Dogs game, that edition, and the figure was actually, it was all right. I definitely say it's one of the better figures that I've gotten in a collection like that. And that came with the mask too that the character wears, and it was kind of like thin and kind of flimsy, like it didn't hold up.
If you're paying $300 for it, it better be good.
Right. And
so here's my question though. Like you're saying that we don't have traditional critics anymore. So would the real fans, not the fair weather fans that come in and like it for a moment and then move on to the next thing, but the real fans, would they be our new critics that we should be listening to?
I'd definitely say so, yeah.
So people like me, Nerdette, and some of the others that are still doing comic reviews and not just resorting to drama?
Yeah, like I definitely say so, because so much of like what I've seen personally different, it's crazy how they've bought so many people that, and even just the system, even if you're trying to do impartial, it's like you're getting free tickets to see all these movies early if you want to review them.
Oh yeah.
And even different websites and stuff, like for comics, they're getting like free issues of the comic.
Yep.
Like it's hard to stay unbiased with all of this stuff. Like
Right.
it could easily sway your opinion if you got, like, let's say a really cool like bust of Batman and you're about to review the new Batman comic.
Oh,
like, you can't not say that kind of slightly sways your opinion on some level.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, see, with all the Zoe Quinn crap, with her sleeping with all those reviewers, I don't understand how they can say that people remain partial when they get these, like you said, these swag packs and pre-beta testing, all this downloadable content,
Early
all of
access.
this stuff. It's like, how can you ask a person to remain impartial and give you a good review that other people would trust if you're just paying them off like that?
Yeah, you can't. And I mean, the only way that you can do that is if you're like, I don't want this stuff, here, take it back. Like it's hard not to. And I mean, even if looking on the outside,
and how many people actually say, hey, I don't want this stuff?
People could, it's like, even if you did take it,
we got Tug in the audience.
Oh, hey Tug.
Hey Tug, hey there. Yeah, you know what? I gotta ask. Did you say you had another stream going on tonight? Because if not, we can just lead it into part 2.
The other stream doesn't start till 8 my time, so we're still doing good.
Okay,
it's 7:05 over here. So
okay, so let me just put out a tweet right now to simply say, screw it, we're gonna part 2. We're just gonna lead right into part 2 right now.
Yay.
All right, sweet.
Yep. So, just let me just tweet that.
So, are you doing other streams then, Crystal?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'll actually be on John Luke's.
Oh, cool.
As well. I forget what time it is for him. It's like juggling time zones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that always sucks.
6 p.m. Pacific time, I believe. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's about 5:20. No, it's not. It's like 5 after 5 right now, Pacific.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yay, we're in the same time zone.
It's so crazy, this time zone juggling. But yeah, the number of shows that I'm on is steadily increasing. So that's always good.
Yeah, definitely. You're getting your name out there and your project.
Yeah. And I mean, what's weird too is like with, writing and kind of being a script doctor, your job is to kind of go unseen. So it's not like your main prerogative is to build a fan base or kind of interact with people unless it's the person giving you notes for what you're working on. So that's definitely different on my end.
Yeah, you don't necessarily want them to know where you are, depending on how many changes you make.
You're supposed to be unseen. Exactly. Oh,
yep. So, well, if we're going to continue on with this, I mean, is there anything else you want to say about your project first? Because we can transition into what I was going to say for part 2.
I think we're good unless you guys have any questions. I don't know.
You ladies?
Nope.
All right. Well then. Yep. Well then, the main thing I was going to say for part 2, what we'll do right here is asking a big question, and you being a script doctor, this actually might help out, is on what I call If I Wrote It. Basically where you all pick a story, any story you wanted to do, and rework it however you want. And if someone else doesn't like it, feels like, hey, I like that story, they would have to argue why it shouldn't be changed.
Ooh, this is gonna be fun. This should be fun. I like that idea.
I put out an invite to others to want to come in, like Piper from Piper's Bizarre Adventure, or Fizzy Giggity. Let's see if she could. She'll come in later. Let me just let her know that.
Cool.
And if anyone else in the chat want to come in, I mean, I know I got one person saying it. Hey, Doug, you want to come in? Let me know, because I'd like to hear anyone give their little idea. Optimus Deadpool, yeah, basically is Operation Retcon, but they got to explain what they would change and why they feel the change would work. So in other words, it's not just going to be a simple throwing out just ideas and just like, oh, that's it. It's like, okay, how did that work? How did that improve it?
This is going to be interesting because I think about this a lot of times. Like I always think if you have a problem with a book or a series, a more creative way to kind of do that is to think about how you could fix it or what you could do personally to make it better.
Right, exactly. And hold on, I'm just sending out another invite because as Chain had asked to come on in, so I'm sending it his way.
Cool.
Yep. Oh, hold on, let me. Oh, sorry, you hear my dog in the background. They're getting all barky.
Oh, I didn't hear anything.
Oh, but so who wants to go first? I mean, do you want to, Crystal? Just pick any comic story or even a video game, TV show, movie, anything. Keep it to comic books if you can, but you know, like what story would you want to retell? Like Secret Empire or anything like that?
Ooh, I'd probably say, oh, this is tough. Let me think for a moment here. This is, this is
well, okay, well,
can you come back to me for
okay, Wendy, Lola, either of you interested? Have any ideas? I think
I would have definitely made sure that Selena and Batman got married.
well, okay, well, here's the question though for that one. Then.
I would have followed through with that shit.
But here's the thing though. What would have happened with Bane's plan? That's still continuity. You can't get rid of that.
I would have reworked it. I don't know how, but I would have.
Well, that's it. That's an easy answer, but well, because I would have simply asked this then, because this almost sounds like what I love, what ifs, because that's almost sounds like something like Bane would either, yeah, that would have been part of his plan. That'd be one way, or you know, you could have it be anything like that. If I can go with my case, I was saying Secret Empire. I would definitely have not had it be Cap, who was the Hydra traitor.
Oh no, yeah.
That's the big one. But instead, kind of taking with what Comic Perch made on his thread a while ago, it'd be someone else within S.H.I.E.L.D. who is up there. It could be a known person. It could be not someone that's known. But in his case, he uses, he tries to find the Cosmic Cube to make him Captain America. In other words, he swaps bodies with Cap.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's what I would have done. He's a guy who you could still keep the whole idea of pushing Nick Spencer's agenda. But as far as we later find out, Steve Rogers, his mind is actually in the guy's body, tied up, beaten up, and everything. And he's like, "No, I'm Steve Rogers."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, Piper.
Hello.
Hey, welcome.
Hey.
Yep, Crystal, meet Piper. Piper's already met Lola and Wendy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yep. Crystal's was the one we were just earlier talking about her Indiegogo. And well, we're moving now on to a little game I came up with, which basically is if I wrote it. We're basically we give a story we want to fix.
You mean Operation Retcon?
Yep, basically Operation Retcon.
You copycat?
But well, basically like that. But the thing is, though, if someone actually liked the idea, they'd have to argue in defense of it.
Ooh.
So, like, I just gave Secret Empire. Lola did Batman 50, even though I kind of gave an argument.
Yeah.
So, what would you change?
And in your case, it's like anything, right?
Yeah, anything. Video games, anime, comic books.
All right, get this. How about Blame or Blame, however you want to pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
That only with an actual freaking ending. Like
Um,
The manga or the Netflix like butchered film?
probably the Netflix film, but I'm told
Okay.
that the manga can be also almost as infuriating.
Okay.
They need to, I don't know, they need a real end. They need to find the whatever, the net terminal gene and get on with the story.
mhm.
Ooh.
Okay.
Back to my thing. I think I've kind of figured something out.
All right.
The Age of Ultron event comic from Marvel.
Ooh.
I was really on board with that
keep
and
it
what they were
warm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought how they kind of wrapped it up was too cliche and too easy of an out for this
Especially when
big threat that they set up.
especially when it totally contradicts everything with how Marvel time works.
Yeah, and I mean, like, they had Hank Pym, and
Mhm.
it's been a little while since I've read it, but they had Hank Pym, like, go back in time and send himself, like,
No,
notes to, like,
no,
put a
actually,
certain code into Ultron to,
no.
like, shut him
It was
off.
more of a case of Wolverine went back in time because, of course, he did, and
Well, yeah, he
it,
killed him.
well, he ended up killing himself, yes, but he ended up telling Hank, and Hank decided, I know
Okay,
what's going to
so that was
happen.
him telling. So
Yeah,
that
and
was Wolverine. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, basically, he decided like, I'm going to set up this back door that's always going to be there, and
Yes,
yet, despite
dude, that was
now
so
knowing all this
stupid.
stuff that's going to happen, I'm not going to use it until this one point to take him out, even though it could save our
Yeah.
lives hundreds of times.
And that frustrated me so much because I was like, you could have shut off Ultron earlier on in Ultron's like existence when he would theoretically be like killing and causing destruction. Like when the Avengers first, kind of met him after that whole, you know, stuff that was going on before that kind of led up to that point.
Yeah, I would say
It's
using
dumb that
Ultron.
now he would wait the last minute.
I know, especially when it could have been used to prevent that one whole country from being wiped out.
Exactly. Like
I know, it's like
so stupid.
now it would have been fine if they had put mental blocks where he didn't remember it until that point. That would have been fine, but no,
Yes,
he had to
that
be. He
was
remembered all this. He knew.
improvement.
I mean, I hate that. I hate when it's the case where they know because that's a bad
It was an
retcon.
easy out. It was
Yeah,
so easy to do that.
No, a bad retcon is one where it totally spits in the face of continuity, where it's like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. It's like revealing Dr. Light raped Sue Divney. It's like, but wait a minute.
Yeah, that was
Sue
dumb.
interacted with the female Dr. Light, perfectly smiles. No, she would have been like, you're dressed up like the guy who raped me. Obviously, that wasn't happening when they wrote it, obviously, back then. But when you add that retcon, it adds those speed bumps where you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, that seemed like low effort type stuff going on.
And then afterwards, it was just kind of like with Iceman, I'm gay. You now have Dr. Light. Oh, I'm all about rape.
But it's like you also need build up
Yeah.
for these things. Like even if you want to go into like some like a far off the trail like direction with something, if you build it up, people might warm up to that idea. If you execute it, properly, people might actually end up liking something that they don't. If you take the time, hint at it, and build up that base, so it's solid. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, and I agree. And it's like, I'll say this. Actually, I have another thing I would change. Bobby becoming gay, I think actually could have led to something. It could have. I mean, it was stupid, yes, but even a bad idea can be redeemed by someone writing, wow, like making Jubilee a vampire.
Yeah, that was definitely different, but I actually kind of enjoyed that.
Oh, I enjoyed it after she became a vampire. The story where she became a vampire was horrible, but everything afterward made it work to the point where, yeah, by the time she became human again recently, it was like, awesome. No, I think it was more like, finally she's back. But at the same time, you're like, okay, but they did it in a way where they had to do it. Otherwise, she would have died.
Yeah, like that definitely helps, especially when you can come up with a creative way to kind of fix the story or kind of move it in the new direction you want it to
Exactly.
go.
And I think because they had to be, oh, now she has bloodlust. Now Wolverine has to help her out. Now he's going to treat her differently from X-23 because X-23 had to learn beyond her bloodlust, whereas Jubilee's stuck with it.
Yeah.
Things like that. That was back when Marvel had some good writing.
And especially like that, I've seen a couple videos, different, comic book YouTubers have put up, but Remender's run of X-Force, I believe. I read that, or was it?
Uncanny X-Force?
Yeah, there we go. Uncanny X-Force.
I think
still have issues, the floppies of that entire run. But that was just like fantastic stuff going on there. And it was definitely all different, but a good different, if that makes sense.
All right. Well, anyone else got any other ideas they would want to fix? Anything at all?
I think Optimus Deadpool does.
Yeah, I invited him to pop in.
I think I would change the way they write characters, honestly.
Yeah, well, but you have to pick a specific story. Anything? Oh, I guess she's busy. but I guess one thing I just want to get back to what I was saying about was Iceman is that, like I said, they could have done something. They could have salvaged that horrible idea as a writer, but instead they decided, let's make Gay all he's about.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of becomes like television kind of does this too, or like a lot of those cop shows.
Oh, yeah.
Or like some of the medical shows now. It's like a very cookie cutter, and there's a lot of tropes, and it's almost to the point where it's like unrealistic.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, this definitely does not reflect anything.
No kidding.
Yeah, and just like people, the way they'll interact with each other is like so different. It's almost out of touch sometimes. Yeah, I don't know.
Yep. Well, if we want to get into talking about instead any recent comic stuff, I guess we can actually transition to talking about any of the controversies recently instead of unless we want to continue with the game. Oh,
what about like current comics? Like, what are you guys currently reading?
Oh, well, actually, before we do that, Optimus Deadpool, welcome aboard.
Yay!
Hello. I don't know if I want to challenge you to Wrestler's Court because you're stealing my gimmick, or if we just need to, I mean, I hear there's a venue in Nashville that's not being used yet.
Let's go.
Well, you'd have to have a week to get your license straight, and then you can mess up your name and your paperwork.
You're not in
that Tonka stuff.
Yeah, you're not in a wheelchair or anything, are you? I don't want to beat up a cripple.
I'm not.
Okay.
Couldn't you just send a cease and desist letter?
That'll be the easy way. We got to stand up like men.
Yeah. That's the way men handle things. Beat each other up.
Yeah,
but then you just show up at somebody's house, though. Joking.
I know. But in all honesty, though, Optimus, did you have something you want to bring up? Because, like I said, this is where it's with comics or anything.
Well, I'll use one of my subjects from a couple weeks ago, Captain Marvel.
Ooh.
You
can ask Piper. I went through like a 30-minute essay on how I would fix that whole mess.
All right,
and actually fix it. Where some of us are just like light it on fire.
Yeah,
light it on fire.
The other three were like, I don't know. I don't want to deal with it. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. Watch this. Okay.
Which is funny because I helped fix America Chavez.
Chavez, yeah. But the thing about America Chavez is just ignore and Gabby Rivera stuff. She was a good character beforehand.
Yeah. They made her all lesbian and
the funny thing is, where her parents
that was her. She had no personality besides angry lesbian. That was it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately.
One of the problems we had with America that we found was her getting mad at her partner.
Yes.
Because I'm going across the country to to school, but you don't want to come with me. You have teleportation powers, woman.
Exactly.
You can literally go to school and then come back home.
You're
don't have to
forgetting
move.
this is by the same writer who, when she went back in time to the 80s and who just wrote the X-Men so generically and had it be that even 80s Storm had a safe word when you're like, when is Storm ever shown to be into anything like that?
Yeah.
That sounds really thought out. Like they really thought that one out.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
I really love this because sometimes, just like as a fun exercise, I'll take let's say a film that I thought, it was okay, or it was horrible. And I'll go through, find the script online, because sometimes you can have access to film scripts for different things, and just kind of go through and like revise it and make it something that you think would be an entertaining film to you as well as others. So
okay, now I would love to see some of the ones that you did, that you fixed, because I have so many that sucked out loud that I would have loved to have fixed.
There was like the actual Avengers Ultron script. I found that online, and I like picked that apart and kind of changed it a bit, but kept the same characters that they used. I just love doing it. It's fun. It's almost even more fun than watching a movie that you thought, it's okay. Like, it's super fun.
Now,
what was the biggest part you picked apart on that movie? What was the one thing you changed the most?
The thing that I changed the most is that I actually put in Hank Pym.
Ooh.
But he's further on in his career, so about the same age as like Michael Douglas. Yeah, from the film. So that they kind of just carried that over and went with that instead of Tony kind of stealing the show and kind of being out of place. Well, I mean, stealing the show in like an odd kind of.
Yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, that wasn't the first time Tony created Ultron, believe it or not.
Yeah.
That was the animated movie Next Avengers or Avengers Next.
Oh, dude, no. Yeah.
That was actually a good movie. It
was a good movie. It's just odd how and I know why they kind of do it. Like, they take Hank Pym out because they think he's kind of a problematic character, if you will.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just weird that they do that.
I know.
Well, you can only, backhand your wife so many times.
But what gets me is story-wise, like, wasn't he under the influence of someone?
Yes, actually.
That was in the original version, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than the Ultimate version.
Ooh.
Well, dude, I really love Ultimate Avengers, and I thought the kind of way they were going with it there was really interesting.
Oh yeah, well, the Ultimate Avengers, the anime movie was fine, but as far as the Ultimates, he was beyond a white, just smacking her, which is always funny. It was one smack, and yet Spider-Man smacked Mary Jane while she was pregnant, and yet they just totally wiped it, swept it under the rug.
Yeah.
You don't bring that up again.
Yeah, they really sweep that under the rug because you don't see that anymore.
I know, it's like, hello. It was someone brought up in the chat. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, someone brought up in the chat, how would anyone fix Ghostbusters 2016? That's an easy one. That actually is an easy one.
Don't make it.
Nope. There is a way.
Set everybody on fire that was even involved.
What you could do to fix it is actually bring in. You could have an all-female cast even, but make it the daughters of the original Ghostbusters.
Something like that.
And I was thinking off the torch.
Yeah, but I was thinking that, or you actually openly acknowledge off the bat it's another universe, and you actually have it be that there's still moments of, even at the very end, you then show at the very end when, even when they hear the Golders thing, you actually have it be that Peter and taken from the comics, the IDW comics, you actually have it be Ray and the others are looking through a portal they made, and they're like, oh, so that happened.
Yeah, and I mean, even like kind of comics do it like with one shots, like you have Spidey 2099, I believe, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then kind of make that into a one shot, and you're like, hey guys, this is only one film and it's set in a different universe. You could still even do it that way.
But that's the funny thing is, you knew just how much they were just sweeping the Ghostbusters, that movie under the rug, when during that crossover in the comic, they basically not only pick apart stuff that didn't make sense in that movie, but openly acknowledge that Gozer cliffhanger. Oh yeah, that was just an echo from their universe. Gozer is not a problem. They were just picking up a echo from the past. In other words, saying, oh yeah, that cliffhanger, that sequel hook, not going to happen. But the one thing I liked about that, though,
should have gotten different actresses. The actresses they picked were not,
except for Kate McKinnon. I think Kate McKinnon was the best part of that movie.
With a good script, I think Kate McKinnon could have done a lot better.
Yeah, but I still think out of all of it, though, she was the best because she was that right level of Ghostbusters quirkiness.
Yeah, she definitely has talent.
Yeah,
one of my Norwegian friends during that, when they were hyping up that movie, he said that one of the characters, I forgot which one was the white big girl.
Melissa McCarthy's character.
Yeah, he I'm gonna try and do an impression of his Norwegian accent too. He's like, so what's going to happen, right? Okay. She's going to try to put on her suit, and she's going to have trouble putting on her suit, right? Because she's big, right? and then when she finally puts on her suit, it will put it on, and she'll say, "Does this make me look fat?" And I said, "I don't know if that's going to be in the movie or not, but I wouldn't doubt
it." That sounds exactly like something that would happen.
See,
I bet you there was. I get
Johnny 5 in
there
the chat.
Yep. Hold on.
I was gonna say Johnny 5 in the chat said, didn't Spider-Man 2099 have a
No, that was Spider-Man Unlimited. They wanted to do Spider-Man 2099, but there was something going on with that, and basically it was meant to be a Batman Beyond, but then they were told they couldn't have it on that Earth, so they put on Counter Earth, and basically that's why they had to change everything about it. There was like some rights issue or something going on.
Was it a cartoon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a cartoon in the 90s, and yeah, that's what that was. And was Leslie Jones? I gotta say, with that one, I actually didn't think there were some moments where she actually was good, but then other times it's like, oh, good Lord.
Did you see the
all we had her there for was to be the stereotypical sassy black woman. And
at least Winston actually felt like a character. And I always say this about Winston. You do know that role was originally written for Eddie Murphy, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I like the guy who ended up playing it.
Oh, yeah. Jesus, like
Ernie
that
Hudson.
name. Ernie Hudson. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But here's the thing, though. If you listen to all the dialogue that Winston says, and if you hear that from Eddie's mouth, it would have been just as much of a jokester as everyone else. But when you hear from Ernie, he makes it so straight that you feel like he is the everyman.
You needed an everyman deadpan.
I know, if it had a steady paycheck involved, I'll believe anything you want.
Speaking of Leslie Jones,
yep.
Did you hear about her tweet today she made about the new Ghostbusters?
No. Oh no, what?
No.
Here's her response to the new Ghostbusters.
What I think it is.
So insulting. Like, fuck this. We didn't count. It's like something Trump would do. Trump voice. I'm going to redo Ghostbusters.
Oh my God.
It gets better.
You got to make it all about the big bad white man erasing everything they did.
Pardon me. It's Orange Man.
Orange Man.
Okay, gonna redo Ghostbusters. Better with men will be huge. Those women ain't Ghostbusters. Ugh, so annoying. Such a dick move. And I don't give a fuck. I'm saying something. Yeah, we're talking about the same person who got in trouble with Twitter because they sicked their followers on somebody. Like, literally did it. Instead of just like, oh man, it would be a shame this person got, No, she literally said, oh, look at what this bigot is saying. Get him.
Yeah. It's like,
she got the guy kicked off.
Yeah.
Yep. And the thing about it, but I would say this. You do know about part of the behind-the-scenes stuff is that Melissa McCarthy, for example, actually was a fan of the real Ghostbusters cartoon and actually wanted this to actually come off like,
That's surprising.
I know. She was a fan. And she was one of those who said, I want this to be it. Then you have others like Leslie who are in it for other reasons. But that does surprise me that Melissa, even though she's one of those who joined in the whole man-hating, and all that stuff, she was at least in it as a fan of at least one particular element of it. thank God.
makes it kind of sadder that she ruined the movie so much because she was such a fan and just screwed it.
Well, I think because she didn't have, even with her name, she didn't have much control.
Well, yeah, but
because Mr. Director Man was just he's pretty much ass. But and you know, the whole thing, you could it didn't matter. The story didn't matter, the script didn't matter, none of it mattered. All that mattered was female Ghostbusters. That's all he fucking cared about.
Oh yeah, and you look at all the behind the scenes. That's why I love listening to Midnight's Edge, how they talked about every step of the way about that. It was like, good Lord, this guy had no idea about the franchise.
There was even, there was a red carpet event. I don't know if you ever saw this picture, but had all three of the actresses, and he was laying on the ground, and they were stepping on him. I was like, my dude.
That symbolizes him right then and there.
Yeah.
It's like he lets women walk over him.
Doesn't mean everybody else needs to see it.
But that's how they want our world to be. They want us to be able to walk over men and to have men that just do whatever we tell them to, and that's that. They don't question.
Oh, geez, remember in that Harley Quinn comic recently? Oh, I don't like feminism in myself. I want everything was better when the men were in charge. That's how they look at people like you ladies.
You know, it's funny. I was in the chat. I was actually I joined Yellow Flash's Discord last night because we were laughing about the comic book hut thing.
Yeah,
And
we can talk about that later.
Yeah. But there was they were brought up a subject, and I was like, that's interesting. They were talking about Captain Marvel because that movie's going to be terrible, and they brought up a good point about Monica Rambeau.
Yep,
when she was Captain Marvel. Not only was she Captain Marvel, she led the Avengers.
Oh yeah, a lot of people point that out.
Yeah, so.
Now remember though, is it going to be Monica that is her mom?
Yeah, well, that's even dumber.
No. Her mom always had a part in the role. In her series, and that would make Monica age appropriate.
I guess it would be for today. Yeah, that would work for
Oops.
What's also crazy is that
my mic goes in and out.
That's okay.
Are you sure it's not the spider?
I killed it.
What do you think about them doing a Kickstarter for that movie?
For what?
Just little girls to see it. Just little girls.
Oh, that GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing what they did with Black Panther, where they're trying to do a GoFundMe so little girls can go see Captain Marvel, the most powerful Marvel character ever. I'm like, since when?
The only thing that I saw that I kind of agreed with where they did that was like one of the two Martin Luther films. Kind of documenting his life and stuff like that. I can kind of see you doing that to get people interested as far as like history, events, stuff like that. Like that seems kind of more important to warn.
That's kind of legit, but to say Captain Marvel should be a little girl's idol, that
nope.
Only little girls count in that matter.
Yeah, and like the same thing with Black Panther. I don't think that was warranted there either. It's just unless it's history.
You're turning to a thing about race and gender when comic books and comic book movies are supposed to be for everybody. Everybody enjoys it.
Fun, it's entertainment.
What I found funny about when they were doing the whole thing with Black Panther, that nobody realized that the way they portrayed Black Panther, he was an allegory to Trump.
What?
Yeah.
Basically, he's like, I'm a nationalist. I care about my country. I don't care about anybody else's country. And I have this big freaking wall.
Wall.
One thing, too, is how they portrayed the sister on screen. Like, I've really been into, and my dad was too, like Black Panther, the comic series. And, like, going way, way back, like, you kind of see his family, but it was like mostly like in discussions about what to do for their people, or it's like, hey, I need you to do something here. Like it was just kind of like a courtroom type situation where the royal court is there and they kind of give their ideas and feedback. It was weird to just have his sister out in that much of a capacity.
Well, Shuri was she was brought, was it early 2000s? There was
a point where it was during the Yeah, and then at one point during one of the runs, when T'Challa's off the board, she becomes Black Panther, and they did this whole, who's wearing it? Is it Storm? Is it the sister?
Oh, no.
Is it Susan Storm?
Which was hilarious. The best part about that whole thing, in all honesty, and I said, well, you know what? I got to give him credit for that, because usually it's all, even then it's all about, oh, we're going to empower this character and blah, 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 Well, when Shuri went to the Panther spirit and says, make me the Black Panther, the Panther spirit said, no, fuck off. T'Challa is still alive. I'm not taking it from him and giving it to you. T'Challa is still the Black Panther.
What's keeping him alive or something, or stable?
Yeah.
Which you think she would have known that and cared about her brother.
Well, it's just they write these characters and they don't.
This was during Hudson's run or something, or
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, geez, that train. Yeah, where they forced the marriage and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this felt like one thing I love about it is there's so much of Christopher Priest's run in this.
I like that. Yeah, I like Chris Priest. He's funny. He said I saw it it was a while back, the more recent statements, he's made, we've seen all those, but a while back he says sometimes he regrets doing Black Panther because
it stereotyped him.
Because it stereotyped him that he can only do black characters.
That's why I loved when he got asked to do Deathstroke. They said, why Deathstroke? It's like, well, first he originally said because he's not black, but in another interview he said they gave him a call and said, we want you to write Deathstroke. Has he been made black recently? Nope. I'm in.
Yeah, because I think when they originally asked him to do Cyborg.
Yeah, I don't know, but I did like how Chris Semper Jr. from Spider-Man animated series fame wrote him for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think they actually openly said they gave him Deathstroke right off the bat.
I remember something about it was either Cyborg or something like that. And he
I think that might have been more talk about Dwayne McDuffie getting stuck with Cyborg.
Oh, okay. And see, that's another guy when he was alive. That was give him any character he wants.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
That was the problem though when he was on Justice League. Finally, that was when you had so much editorial shakeups that you couldn't give him any character he wanted.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. It's like somebody as talented as Dwayne McDuffie was. You don't say, "Hey, we're going to give you this, Mr. McDuffie. Who do you want on your team, sir?"
Oh yeah. Although but he was also a guy when given characters, he still did great stuff with them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Because he understood the lore. He understood.
Oh yeah, like
even after creating, stuff like like the what's the universe that the Milestone. Yeah, even with doing Milestone and stuff like that. See,
I love it. I love it how who's the Superman allegory? Icon. He's not Black Superman. He is not Black Superman.
Yeah, he has a totally different origin. Like
not only that though, he's not even of the same type of character or anything like that, and he's not written as a Superman. I mean, he's the closest he is. He's the super all-powerful being of his universe. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, people want to say about, pushing diversity and stuff like this in comics, like it's been here. Yeah. And, there's been all sorts of people behind the scenes, writing, whether it's artists. And it's crazy that they'll do stuff like with Christopher Priest. Like, he should have whatever he wants that's within his genre.
And he's against people being pigeonholed writing.
And yeah, like that is more suspicious. Like, it's just weird that.
And yet, here's the reason why. A lot of these people, they're not that good writers, a lot of these people who are demanding it. So, of course, they're saying, it can only be written by a person who matches that type of character. Only that. Yeah, in other words, give it to people who only match that niche.
With the talent and the capacity to do it should be able to. Like, that's true diversity.
If that's the case, then Ta-Nehisi Coates does not need to be writing Captain America, right?
Yeah. Oh, jeez. And I say this, Eve Ewing is by far one of the, from what I've heard about that Ironheart comic, is one of those barely examples of like, okay, you actually got something that came out a bit decent, at least in that regard. But probably because she's actually a better writer beforehand anyway.
Well, she had some, training,
exactly. Whereas then you had Gabby Rivera. Then you had Gabby Rivera.
Somebody training like that.
Yeah. Then you had Gabby Rivera.
You know how to write.
Right. Sorry.
So I was just saying that you should know how to write when you get the job. That shouldn't be you learning on the job. That's
exactly. I mean, in the case of someone like Max Visaggio, from what I understand, was already with the job, just not that good. But
Wait. Piper has a story about that.
Oh, that was in the waifu house stream already.
Yeah.
We've already been through that one.
Yeah, kind of had a job. Kind of. Wasn't good at it.
Yep, it has gotten better a little bit. I mean, I still openly admit that little story she did with Superman in one of that holiday specials actually came off competent. Wasn't great, but it was competent.
You said that was Superman?
It was the Superman story where he had kept having nightmares. It was in the the Halloween special recently.
Well, you got to remember though, there is some form of editorial control over at DC.
Well, yeah, that's why I keep talking about it. Even with Bendis and Kelly Sue DeConnick and G. Willow Wilson, at least for better or for ill, especially in Bendis' case, ill, they're still playing off of stuff that was left over for them by the other writers. That tells you at least they're keeping continuity.
I have to relate this a little bit to wrestling. Like, like when Vince Russo was in WWF, people said Vince Russo was a genius and he created the he won the Monday Night War, blah 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 blah. It's like,
but then that went on too long.
Yeah, but the fact is that he had somebody over him saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. As soon as he goes to WCW and he has free reign, it was all crap. so sometimes, when somebody in a certain set of circumstances, like in a DC, comics where you have editorial oversight and things like that, and this is actually coming off competent. Marvel goes and pays them and gives them, like, say, $50,000 bonus or something like that to come over to Marvel exclusively. And we're going to give you free reign.
Oh, geez. And in the case of the writers, or in the case of some of the artists, like I was just talking about when I was going over my Master of the Universe Secret Origins, Fraser Irving was at his best at DC. Mm-hmm. He was at his best. Yet you then look at that horrible Spider-Man phase everyone makes fun of him for. What the hell happened to him? He was so good. Working with the likes of Grant Morrison, or again that Skeletor one shot. I mean, if you saw my review of it, that opening page was Keldor's face melting off.
Yeah,
it was like so good. Then you see that, you're like, okay.
Part of that was just the memes people were putting on Twitter.
Oh yeah, but that's because that was the artwork, and you're just like, what happened? Is it because he can't do a monthly schedule? Because I don't think he can. I do not think that man can do a monthly schedule, and I think that's why he had to cut so many corners to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that again. Like, what kind of face is that?
Somebody showed, what was it, like a husky face, and then that Spider-Man face was
something like that.
I like what Johnny Five says in the chat. Skelecook, we need to drink more. We need to drink of souls.
But yeah, again, I mean that's the thing though. DC knows how to keep the artists good. There is still only one of the few artists I can still say at Marvel who can't do wrong, and that's Ed McGuinness. Ed McGuinness does no wrong. Period.
Because that's Ed McGuinness. I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, but yeah, he has done no wrong. They just let him do what he does. They don't even tell him, draw the women, and he still keeps the women sexy. Even in the case of She-Hulk, that was kind of playing with what the character was already. Kind of helped that one there, but
I love that old She-Hulk run, fantastic stuff.
Oh yeah, I love that, and I love Dan Slott's She-Hulk.
Yes,
that was so good.
Good stuff. Seriously.
And that's the thing with Dan Slott is he was great when he had limited control. When he had limited control, he was great. They give him Spider-Man. What happened?
I made a point in a tweet yesterday about.
I know. Looks like Lola left.
Danny.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh well. It was great having you on, Lola.
She may return. You never know.
She may return.
But I made a point about old Dan Slott yesterday.
Oh, really? What?
When he did, when they did the whole, what do you call it? When he switched brains with Doc Ock.
Right. Oh, Superior.
And did Superior. And you remember everyone was pissed off about that. Not just because they thought, the way they wrote it was that, Peter died,
Yep.
And people piss off, and he's like, "Oh no, just wait till the end, wait till the end, wait till the end." That's literally what they do now. It's never when something bad's happened. No, just wait till the end, wait till the end, and it's usually either bad, just as bad, or just as mediocre. Right?
Well, in the case of with Superior Spider-Man, that ended up actually working out for many people in the end, for some people, as opposed to Secret Empire, where they flat out lied.
Mm-hmm. Well, you could tell with Secret Empire by the time they started doing that, they were already trying to get away from it.
Yep.
They were already
putting the season for Civil War 2 into that story.
Mm-hmm. Because because that point they were already doing what the
playing off of Civil War 2. Sorry,
they were already trying to. By the time didn't Cebulski had just come on, right?
By that point, yes.
Okay.
I think though that was the case where he didn't have much control still, because that was still already out the door.
But yeah, it was already done. But they basically said before it even started that none of it was going to matter.
Right.
Oh yeah, I hate when people do that. Just allude to it. Don't like straight out say it does not.
And where's that other Cap still? Where's the other Cap?
Right. Yeah. Where's Evil Cap at? Yeah.
Where's Real Cap?
Yeah, Real Cap.
Even better question.
Yeah, because that's Real Cap.
Because this Cap is the Cosmic Cube creation, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, the current Cap, who's the idealized version. In other words, the Cap we've known and gone, dead, forever dead, because this one's not even the real Cap. They're just pretending he's the real Cap. When, yeah.
But, I mean, that evil Cap stuff, it gets me because the character is very into being patriotic and whatnot. Like, it's part of the character's DNA. It's almost disrespectful. It's insane. It's insane.
It's kind of like, have y'all seen those images going around? And this was actually printed in the books where it's like Red Skull is, he's like doing this speech.
The Trump speech.
And, as he's saying it, most people I saw who, read that thing, he's not wrong.
Trump speech, and there's a reason why a lot of people vote for Trump. What they looked at and they're like, okay, and it's like, oh, but as far as Spencer was concerned, nope, all evil, it's all evil.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like the whole thing. Remember, they had the MODOK that looked like Trump, or don't get me started on Boar from when they did Lady Thor.
Oh yeah, that was
unsolicited opinions on Israel.
I still say this about Lady Thor. Overall, moments aside, that was the case where at least they had a plan going into it.
Yeah. No, they didn't.
No,
they did not.
What I meant is,
guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to hop into that other stream real quick.
No problem. It was great having you
Thank
on
you
board.
For having
it's
me.
Nice talking to you.
Yeah, it was great meeting all of you guys.
Yeah, Crystal, I just want to say your project looks amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And if you ever want to hit me up, I followed you on Twitter. If you ever want to come on our show, Graded Point 5, you just let me know.
Sure.
I would love to have
look you up for sure.
All right.
You have a good one.
Later, guys.
Yep, later.
Bye.
We could continue on still with her discussion because, hey, this is still becoming a fun stream.
Sorry, I had
to... He's advertising his stream during your stream. Does
he
that
stole
make
my gimmick? I think I'm entitled.
I will give him one.
Yeah.
I will, hey, anyone is free to advertise whatever they want here. Don't have an ego. I'm not comic book hut.
True.
All right. I don't care what people say about me. Within reason, of course, but it's like as long as it's not slander. But if it's something that I realize, like, wow, do I really come up like an asshole? I better change it. I would change it. I would not be all like, oh, they think I'm an asshole. Well, I'll be even bigger asshole just to counteract it.
Look, let me.
That's my job.
Look, let me tell you something. It ain't about money, but I spent money on this. Okay, all right. I spent money on this, and Robert, I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay, you listen to me. All right, pay attention now. Okay. You better get Cecil to apologize.
Right? You already did that earlier.
But you didn't hear my impression, so it makes it better. If you, because I'm the goddamn Batman, okay? When he said I'm Batman, I fell over. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm falling over laughing.
He kept on just adding to his I'm this, I'm that. But once you got to Batman, you're like, you know what? I'm not surprised that he's taking everything down. How much farther can you go once you say I'm Batman? He kept on doing spectacular, amazing, and all that stuff before. And boy, how big of an ego, much more ego struggling can he have to do?
Right.
I think that's why he, totally nuked his channel. It's like, how much further can I go?
There was literally,
You say Batman. The only other thing you could have said was Superman.
He literally got to where we joke, everybody's heard the meme, they will never recover. He literally can never recover.
Especially after Cecil's little video about him.
That was great too.
That was. But seriously though, and all of the and everything that was been going on lately, it's just, I mean, I really wish Nerdette was here so she can bring in her sense, but I think she said enough with Yellow Flag.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pick it up. So, like in the early days, because I did a video response too around the same time she did, just telling him to F off. And
I had seen Nerdette's video. I didn't see yours. I'll go look it up.
I did two of them. And the first one, I was like, screw you. I just talked off. But I'm like, dude, come on, you don't have to do this. But then the second one, I was just like, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
But I seen him. I saw him pop up sometimes on Ethan's stream, and he never said anything.
Oh, I know.
It's like I'm just here. I'm just hanging out. Because I got invited. I was like, are you the Godfather? Get the fuck out of here.
And yet he somehow got a big boost.
Yeah, Hut got stomped. Exactly.
No. I'm saying he got a big boost from just being there, for not even saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
But he kind of screwed himself. I mean, he may have gotten a big boost, but then he screwed himself over and lost so many people.
Exactly. Because he started, you know what? And I know pretty well when the stuff with him, going after Nerdette and DC comic fan was and all that was, it was because they were the ones who kept calling him out on the run from his support he gave. And even when he deleted it, they kept bringing it up. So my guess is always he started that whole calling them losers, hoping to discredit them. Newsflash, calling them losers and not specifying who you're talking about, no one's going to know who you're talking about except for the people that you're talking about.
And him constantly going after, our boy Zach. With that thing that really got me about that was like, Zach literally showing the T-shirts that they're getting ready to send out with their books, right? And says, I just delivered, 11,000, autograph pages. Yep. So, they could go into the book. And he says, I don't need to see T-shirts. I need to see a book.
It's like I'm still one of those who's all like, hey, it's still just a couple months late. Given everything going on, it's understandable, and everything. It's fine. I can wait. Now, if it reached the year mark, then I'd be having complaints, especially if he was already working on Jawbreakers 2 without releasing Jawbreakers 1, or if he did any shit like that. Then I'd be pissed.
Or how about his? What was another thing that he would? Oh yeah, I got insiders. Okay,
no,
look.
He does not.
Here's the thing. Here's what I said about this. As far as Jawbreakers goes, unless it was from Richard C. Meyer himself or John Malin or Brett Smith, he don't have no insiders.
Exactly, except for HP. The only one he would have had would have been HP.
Yeah, and that was like that insider was so like they're so out of the loop now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So,
but then you realize that I think Hut really started thinking all those people who were supporting JDA and everything, those were the true people of Comicsgate. I think that's why he was trying to run in with them, thinking, oh no, they're the true face. Anyone else was war campaign and all that stuff, oh no, they're not. They're going to be gone soon. I'm going to just try and hit them off at the pass. But then he just couldn't let go of his hatred for Nerdette.
The thing with me, anybody who tends to side with Joe Quesada's paid brigade, I don't really want to have anything to do with them. Like when you're talking about on your video, you're just like, I can't wait till Renfamous picks this up. Little Caesar, that's funny, huh? Yeah. Just let Little Caesar, because I'm obviously a big man. I'm from New York City, like nobody cares, dude.
Yeah, nobody cared, and yet he kept on acting like this, and that's why I kept making the joke of, after Tristan smoked past him, things too. Because here's the thing, much like other people, no offense to Ethan. Ethan's a great guy, but he's given shout outs so many times and given some people some boosts. And yet, compared to our boy Zach, Zach's giving a shout out. He does it so rarely. There's no wonder why she's blew up the way she did.
I mean, I joke. I mean, like a couple weeks ago, I paid.
I just want to care. I'm not talking bad about Ethan. He's
right.
just, but he has.
No, yeah, definitely. I got you. But like I said, I did a $5 on his super chat. So hey, give our channel a shout out. Just he could have not have. That was up to him. He said so. He did. He said, yeah, go check out Graded Point 5, guys.
Oh yeah, and I did that too when I was ready for my first waifu house stream. I actually went there and said, hey, give me a shout out. Hey, go check it out.
Yeah. So it worked out. I mean, I think I ended up getting 10 subs out of it. I was like, okay. I mean, that's
I know, but like I said though, but even again, but I think though, but that's part of the reason why I just always had to laugh about Hut. It's like she just smoked his ass way hard. I just always have to wonder how much did that fume him? How much was he furious about that?
I mean, he was like, what, at 1.1 thousand?
Yeah, and then once she went past him and then kept going still. It's like, and she earned, and here's the thing though. Yes, she got the shout out from DNC. It was because of her quality that she kept growing. It could have gone to a point and then just stopped. But no, because she's so good with her videos that she kept going and going.
I mean, you're closing in on 1,000 yourself. So I mean,
yes, I am very slowly, but I think her giving me that community post is helping me out.
But you're working at it too.
I'm not going to stop. I might have a few flub ups here and there, but.
One thing you don't go on, like he was going on. I am the most important person in comics.
Oh no, I would never do that. Oh hey, Chained. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Finally took the invite, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent it to you like I don't know an hour ago. I'm kidding.
Well, he heard my impression. He thought Comic Book Hutton was in here and got intimidated.
Yeah, I was watching Call Me Kevin, so my bad.
No problem. Hey, no problem. But seriously, I mean, again, I do have a bit of an ego. I think every.
Yep. That's right. Yep.
Headphones.
Something's wrong with my headphones too.
Like I have it, but at the same time, I'm humble enough. I'm just like, yep. I already know a lot of my subscriber numbers that built up over my 11 years on this channel. I don't even know how many of them are still watching it.
Right.
But the funny thing I still say is that the one video I still get views on is my Danny Phantom original theme video. I'm still getting views on that to the point where it's like, if I reach 1,000. I might very well be able to become get monetized just because of that video building up my view count.
Mm-hmm.
My average.
See.
Yeah, I still get like over 200, like almost 300 views every 48 hours, according to my analytics. It's like seriously, that tells you how much people are still big into Danny Phantom.
That is the weirdest fandom I've ever seen, though.
The Danny Phantom?
Yeah. Ever since the whole Randy Stair thing took off.
Oh,
I heard about that one.
Yeah.
And I've listened to Mr. Me Turk. What's his name? I forgot.
Who?
Oh, jeez.
Medicare.
Medicare, that's it.
Yeah. Yep.
I watched his video on it.
Mr. Jim.
When I was playing Far Cry 4.
Yeah.
Yep. But I'm just saying that fandom. No, I'm still surprised it's so strong to this point.
I mean,
yeah, me too.
I
never even watched Danny Phantom as a kid. I was a Star Wars fan.
Oh, hey, I'm multiple fandoms fan. That's why I did that one video of mine a while ago about true fans. That was one of the key examples of true fans was the Danny Phantom one, where I mean, I still have it. Okay, does anyone here know about the comic YouTuber Professor Sorgi?
No.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's a good guy, but his wife, Michelle, I known her back in the day as Toon Scribbles, and she was in the Danny Phantom fandom, and she was one of those who, because she did some Danny Phantom artwork that was kind of into the more risque stuff, but because of how the fans were, and Butch himself was always open his message board. He didn't like that stuff. They're like, "You're not a true fan." Ugh.
Oh yeah,
After the show ended and they were trying to get people together to go up to Nickelodeon, they refused her to join along because you're not a true fan. You do all this nasty stuff, even though it's not even that nasty compared to other people.
I haven't joined Google's Hangout for a very long time. I haven't joined one since I got on DeviantArt for a while.
Yeah.
And
it's where all the cool kids hang out.
Cool.
Yeah, but still, with getting back to the whole thing about someone trying to always build up their channel, you have stuff like with Cut and everything. It's like he obviously started off normal. I mean, trust me, he's become my example of what not to do.
Mhm.
Like, I don't go anymore asking people to give me a shout out that much. I try my hardest not to, because I'm like, that's begging for it. No, if I want it, I got to get it legitimately. I mean, I might still do it on occasion if I feel really strongly about this, but at the same time, it's like, you know what I mean, right? It's like the way he did it, it caused his ego to get big because he kept on feeling like, "Oh, I got all this. You asked for it."
Well, didn't he have his first huge drop in subs because he went after? I think she was the Comicsgate girl back then.
Oh, yep, Ava.
Yeah, he went after her pretty hard and lost a lot of subs. And then
he had to back. Then he tried to back out, saying, "Oh, it was." But he was one of the worst. He's the one that got that ball rolling on people thinking she was a mole.
Yeah, because he was the one who was attaching her name to Late Night Comics.
Yeah,
he kept saying that she was a mole for him.
All because of some things that Late Night Comic made jokes about. He's the other guy I was talking about. Good riddance.
Yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back, but his reach will be, severely hindered.
And the funny thing is, though, he's burned so many bridges. Did he really think after what he did, especially with Darwin Cook's wife, that even the aunties would want him?
Well, he's already been back once and been kicked out already.
Well, the problem with the thing with Darwin Cook's widow, because she still believes that that was one of quote Ethan's followers.
Well, I don't blame. I don't blame her.
I understand where she's coming from.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
that's why I just invited a friend of mine to come pop on in soon. So, no one you guys know.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought oh, wait a minute. I know everybody.
No, you don't know him.
Well, no, I got sources everywhere. You see, I know everything about you.
Yeah.
I know everything. You know what? You're gonna. This ain't about money, but I'm gonna put money on this. Okay.
Yeah, but you were saying. Sorry.
I forgot what I was saying.
Yeah, but again, it's just like someone, even with him, he had a pretty good channel when he started.
Well, it's all about keep continuing.
Oh, hello, Eric.
Oh, hey, Eric. Eric. I guess it's Mike acting up. Oh, hello.
Hello.
There you are.
Hey guys.
Yep. Sorry. Continue, Optimus.
Okay, but I've always said in somewhat, yes, you want to try to update and change and do things, to keep going, but you don't change what got you to the dance, right? And
exactly.
Like for me, I do a live stream just about every night, weekdays, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it comes down to I'm only doing a live stream for Sporkable and Taco, that's something I'm do. You know what I mean?
Taco seriously loves you, man.
I love seeing that cat watching. I was just like, this is the most surreal thing I've ever seen. Like, I used to do a live stream back during Gamergate with a couple friends of mine, and we could pull in 1,000 viewers, right? But I've never gotten the good feeling I have from seeing the cat watching my show. I don't know why. It always that just I was like, that's just the most wholesome thing I've ever seen.
It's funny because I'll put it up on the screen of the TV, and all of a sudden she'll come walking in and she'll sit on her chair and just stare at the TV.
That's so cool.
Yeah. But one other thing I was just going to point out very quickly was it's like I still get people like Yellow Flash telling me I should just focus more on the drama and all that, which is like, dude, that works for you. You do, constantly ruffle feathers. He finds out that, oh, I ruffle feathers. Yeah, I know that. I don't usually do it unless I really feel strongly about it. And yes, I admit the drama videos can get me more views. Hopefully, acknowledge that. But at the same time, or shouting my head off like my Superman 7 review did.
Rob, when I first saw that, and you just went on a fuck you Bendis rant, it made my day, man.
I hope I acknowledge them. But it does get more and more views. At the same time, it's like, that's not me. I don't want to force myself to do that all the time.
It may get you like more views from a limited amount of people who want to know what's going on, but the other kind of videos will get you more viewers over a long period of time.
Right.
Once the drama's over, nobody wants to know about it.
Right.
Sorry, I do apologize for the backgrounds.
It's all right. It's all right. I've heard worse on this channel, on this stream. Believe me.
Yeah, like the bell at my shop going off every 5 seconds.
It could be worse. You could be here and wondering what the heck is going on in here while I'm playing Fortnite.
I mean, just for my own channel, you're talking about that. I got 2 examples, like my two most viewed videos, right? Or one was a live stream and one was a video. The live stream was when Piper caused all kinds of shenanigans. And
I didn't do shit.
What else is new with her? I
bet. Piper, made a joke about Gail Simone, and then got into the crosshairs of the Ren Queen. And
that's actually what I found you guys.
Yeah. So I appreciate Ren for going.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. That's what. Thanks, Ren.
Yeah, thank you for growing my channel. And this is so funny because during the channel, because she was tweeting during the channel, during the stream, right? And she was saying stuff that was not happening.
Trying to get people to jump in.
She literally said that we talked about her and her family for 2 hours. I'm like, I literally only mentioned her husband one time because somebody in the chat made a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, there was one time. It was like literally 30 seconds, right?
Like, in all seriousness, there's really a difference between harassment and making jokes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's a fine line between it, and comedians have been fighting that fight for many years. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, who was doing that weird voice earlier? It sounded like Marlon Brando doing the Brooklyn accent.
That was me. I was making fun of.
Well, you mentioned Vince Russo earlier, and I remember back when I was getting into wrestling, I used to listen to WCW Live, and one of the callers was literally called, "Hey, yo, it's Meeting Russo." and by the way, what does this have to do with ratings? It's all about the ratings from the powers that be over here.
I'll say so. Two of my most popular videos since I started doing my channel are actually, believe it or not, my let me get right back to it. The sex. Why is it always about sex?
Because sex sells.
Yeah, and my Carmen Sandiego video is actually my most viewed.
Robert is a big Carmen Sandiego fan going way back.
But I think it's all because it was right after the trailer came out.
Right.
You were on point about that. I remember I watched that video. You were on point about all that stuff.
Yeah, because it's like, seriously. And yet I've had someone just commented just today, actually, because the series came out. They're saying, just seen the Netflix show, and it's very good. Yes, it's not the same setting as the original show, but since it's less educative and way more narrative, it makes sense. And since she is the main character and we're exploring her backstory in several episodes, it's more interesting with an anti-hero than a villain, especially since it's a show for kids. Besides, the legacy's with dead since the 90s. Bringing it back with new ideas, good writing, and great performance, I can't ask for more, and I won't. What's coming out a bit harsh, but at the same time, it could have been worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds better than what's happening with Sheila, that's for sure.
That is one thing I'm going to bring up about during my when I finally get to She-Ra during my Masters of the Universe stuff.
By the way,
speaking of Netflix, have you seen? There was this show called what was it? My memory is not very good, unfortunately.
There's a lot of Netflix originals. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
It was so disgusting. It was like.
Oh, is it that big mouth?
It started with Queens.
Queens?
Queens.
Yeah.
Is it live action or animated?
It was a live action.
Oh.
Let me look it up. I'm on TV Tropes. I'll look under the Netflix originals. Just give me a minute. Netflix. Let's see.
And now, is it a movie or a show?
It's a show.
It's a show. Okay.
It's a show. Okay. Well, that could narrow it down a bit, I think.
Yeah.
Drama or comedy?
Yes.
Drama, I suppose. Probably
Recent?
reality.
Is it recent or?
I think it's a recent show. It's like
They're I keep forgetting they're making the Umbrella Academy into a show. Hey, that's Gerard Way. That should be good.
No, but I don't know.
I canceled my Netflix a few months
Okay,
ago.
there's Thailand, Narcos Mexico, Sabrina, Haunting of Hill House, Good Cop, The Innocents, The Insatiables, Lost in Space.
I just typed in Quee into my into my search engine. All I got is the new Queer Eye. Right, that's it. So I don't know what this Queen stuff is.
Yeah, it was this Dancing Queens, and they tweeted like,
"Oh, that drag queen kids show."
What?
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
It's not RuPaul's Drag Race, is it?
It's supposed to be where a drag queen is like a dance instructor and a drag queen at night. So he's teaching these kids to dance, and then at night he goes and bees his drag queen ass self. I don't think he's teaching kids to be drag queens, but I could be wrong.
I hope not.
This isn't RuPaul's Drag Race for
I hope not. I would definitely turn off that show if I had a child around.
Seriously.
Speaking of kids, I actually discussed this with my dad. If you think, because I just realized this. Think about what year it is with that it's 2019. I just realized two things. Number one, everything I loved in 1999 is 25 years old. And secondly, and I realized everything from 1969 is 50 years old. And here's the four notable things I took away from that. The moon landing, which my dad watched live. The Woodstock, the very first Woodstock concert. And Scooby-Doo and Sesame Street are 50 years old.
Wow.
Think about crud, I feel old.
September 22nd, 1969, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Debuted on CBS. And then November 11th, I believe it was November 11th that same year, the Net Network, this was the precursor to CBS, first had Sesame Street come on the air. And boy, has the street looked different in 50 years. I mean, I look back, I'm watching a lot of old clips because it is the 50th anniversary, and as usual, the Muppets go through a lot of growing pains before they become the Kermit the Frog and Big Bird we know today. Big Bird originally was kind of a country bumpkin, kind of hick, not very bright. You almost laid an egg here, right here in Sesame Street, before he became, oh, hi, Mr. Cooper. That's Hoopa, Big Bird. Hoopa.
Yeah, Eric.
Sorry, I love doing voices. It's kind of my shtick.
No, I know. Hey, on a different topic. Getting back to comics for a quick second. I mean, well, one thing I just got some belated birthday present in. Just want to mention it very quickly. One of them, the Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, Batman Omnibus. Everything they worked on. Long Halloween, Dark Victory, got Catwoman.
You're the ones that worked on Long Halloween?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep, and I got that. Spider-Man Deadpool by Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness. And The Vision by Tom King.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
But I gotta say though, is that I've just been noticing sometimes. Have you ever had a chance where a run finished up and then you decided, you know what, I'm gonna go read through everything, and then you wonder, wait, it isn't how I felt it was going when I was reading it.
Yeah, because the first time you go through it really quick because you want to see where it goes to, and then the second time you read it, you see all the stuff you didn't pay attention to the first time.
Right. Well, I just did that with the recent, ever since Rebirth, Suicide Squad, since they just ended with issue 50.
Ah.
And it was interesting, but I still snicker how in the very first issue, you basically have Amanda Waller telling Obama off. Basically telling him, like, yeah, you're not supposed to know this stuff. He's basically trying to tell her, like, this, Task Force S shouldn't exist. Yeah, no. Not gonna happen.
Yes,
it's like only the wall could do. Ironic. Only the wall could tell Obama off.
I can imagine with Obama, my fellow Americans, I don't know much about Suicide Squad.
My fellow Americans, I'm more of a Spider-Man fan.
You forgot one thing when you talk about when you do an Obama impression. Let me be clear. Because we were so dumb, remember, the American people are so dumb that he has to dumb it down for us. So he's got, let me be clear.
Let me be clear.
Have you seen, off topic, have you seen the Call Me Maybe Obama sings? That is hilarious.
Oh.
I've seen that before. Yeah, it was funny.
On a different note, has anyone ever heard about what's happened with John Romita Jr.? I haven't seen much from him in a long time. I know he's working on that Superman Black Label book.
Huh.
Is Superman going to show his peenie?
We already go through that with Batman.
Joke, dude. Eric, that's the joke.
Well, it happened to Batman. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened to Superman.
Well, and it's Frank Miller writing it, so
I just thought of Family Guy jokes we can make out of that.
Not anymore.
Do we really want Frank Miller writing?
Actually, to be fair, Dark Knight 3 actually did fix it became more about Superman by the end, in a good way.
Well, I'm talking about what he did with All-Star Batman.
No, I know. But yeah, I know. That's true. But I'm talking about recent work. Now, of course, you could say a lot of that was Brian Azzarello, but I still think a lot of that was also still, Frank trying to right the ship.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Yep, I'll say this. So, yeah, the last thing he did actually was the Dark Days, the two one-shots.
Mm.
Haven't heard much from, and the Kick-Ass revival. Or yeah, Kick-Ass? Yeah. Yeah. But so yeah, I know. I feel like we're running out of topics here.
I can.
How about what was the last comics you bought?
Oh, last comics I bought. Well, Batman Who Laughed was one of them. I got a couple of others, but obviously one of the ones that really got me going was, of course, Superman 7.
Yeah.
That was just, again, I kept giving Bendis so many of the benefit of the doubt, but that was the last straw. I'm like, nope.
I know, nope.
Yeah, but it was just like, nope, you made Lois the worst mother by doing that. It's like, seriously, you couldn't have had Jor-El convince her, guilt her, make her think, John's holding back because you're around. He doesn't want you hurt. Even though you're wearing my son's suit, you could still get killed in conditions that we can't. You should leave so he can be able to explore his full potential. That would have been fine. But not only did she leave, then she doesn't even go and tell her husband.
Yep.
It's like, what the fuck? I mean, again, if she had left and felt bad that she left him behind, that's why she didn't go to Clark, that would have been fine. That would have explained everything. But nope. Not only did she just leave him, be like, he didn't need me. Then she decided, nope, you know what? I realized I'm not good being the wife. I want to be back to being the spunky reporter who you can come by and we can have some sexy time after every now and again.
Oh.
That's Bendis.
Yeah, that's been. It's like, but can you believe what they did after recently? They basically took what he did was Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, and now reveal, their daughter, that's the Purple Man's kid. I have the feeling that's something Bendis would never have allowed. He would never have allowed that.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't get it. I just don't get it. He handles street. Is somebody laughing? What's going on?
We're laughing because Rob kind of just disappears.
He goes
He's
in and out.
Batman. I'm Batman.
Alien.
I'm Batman.
Wait, that reminds me of the animated series. One of these days, I'm going to nail his feet to the ground. Actually, that's one thing we could talk about. With the Blu-ray coming out, I've been rewatching Batman the Animated Series quite a bit. It's one of those shows that not only does it surprisingly hold up, it's a lot better than I remember when I first saw it on Fox Kids. Back.
Oh, yeah. That's why when someone made that tweet about or that CBR article saying, "Oh, Young Justice better than Batman the Animated Series."
Oh,
It's like
hell
that's
no.
why I said, look, I get there's a generational gap that causes some people to look back at older stuff. It's old, but and seriously, you're going to go that extreme. I mean, I get it. Young Justice, some people say it's in the upper echelon. I get it. It does deserve to be up there. Recent season notwithstanding, although I keep hearing some people say it's getting better, actually.
I did hear it's getting better, yes.
But yeah, it's like, but it's still nowhere near because Batman the Animated Series changed everything.
It
did.
What did Young Justice do? It set a standard, yes, but that was it. It was a standard that got ignored.
I mean, yeah, it's set a standard for coming out every 3 years. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
No, I meant that it set a standard that got ignored.
It's just, I mean, I blame a lot of what happened with Young Justice on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, because a lot of that was because that they don't see a cent from a show that's not made in-house. Because that's the problem with Warner Brothers. It's all departmentalized.
Not only that, but a lot of the animation they get a lot of the money they get to pay him back usually is dependent on toy sales. That's why Green Lantern didn't last so well, because the movie was still in recent people's minds and the merch didn't sell. I think.
I still say though it's still a lot more. At least it makes more sense than the Thundercats reboot game can, because they had a cheaper equivalent with Lego Chima. That's not even in the same ballpark.
Oh.
That's the reason why, right? Because it was much cheaper.
Yeah, Robert told me this last night, and all I'm thinking back is to when I worked at Toys R Us and I saw all these different Legos everywhere. But think about all the franchises Lego has gotten recently. Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, Doctor Who, Adventure Time, Scooby-Doo, Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm like, Infinity War is the greatest crossover. I'm like, guys, look at these Legos.
It's because their movie. With their movies coming out, Lego has a lot more social capital than they used to have.
Yeah, and the games too.
Oh yeah, the Indiana Jones and Lord of the Rings and Star Wars.
And the movies, like the Star Wars movies and stuff like that they're doing. They're everywhere.
I know. And the funny wasn't Lego on its last legs a while back before the first Lego game. Chain, any chance you can mute your end for a little bit, until you're ready to pop in? Sorry, the background noise is getting really bad.
I do apologize.
It's okay. I was just asking. Like, if you're ready to chime in, you could chime right in. But
I used to like Bionicle though. I do miss it.
Bionicle.
I remember when we saw. Sorry, I remember when we saw Bionicle. We had all these weird figurines. We had a lot of Ben 10 ones too.
Yeah, but I think after Bionicle ended, didn't Lego go into a spiral afterwards? And then between that and before Lego Star Wars, it was like, on its last legs or something as far as like being a brand. And then, not
about it. Like the people who are doing all the movies and bringing it all back, those are people that are like my age, where we played with them as kids when they first came out. And all of a sudden we're going, hey, I want that nostalgia. I want that for my kids. And they're bringing it back in so many different ways that it's like reopening the Lego world for everybody.
It kind of is.
Then, of course, you have the fact that, they made them practically like worlds, like Lego. You have the master builders. Anyone can be a master builder.
Yeah, the city sets, the Ninjago sets.
When I was in New York and Eric was there with me and another friend of ours, we actually went to that Lego store. That was just like, oh.
That was a badass store. I loved it.
I know, but you see all this Lego stuff, and it's just like, wow, someone had way too much time on their hands.
And I know that someone. It's Zach the Lego Maniac.
I thought it was Jack.
Jack? Is it Jack or Zach?
It was Jack.
I know.
Excuse me?
No, it was both. It was both.
Oh, so there were two of them.
Don't you remember Nostalgia Critic made that joke?
Yeah. Right. Then again, he also said, "Hey, how come I never saw these toys at Toys R Us?"
I know, and then I know, but
I do remember the first time I walked into Toys R Us and saw a Sega Dreamcast with Sonic Adventure 2. Though that was a trip.
Oh my god! Yes.
Oh, nostalgia.
Okay. You know what? When I went to see Dragon Ball Super Broly a while ago, I saw the big marquee for that stupid Sonic the Hedgehog movie where you see the legs.
I shouldn't have brought it up. I'm sorry.
No. I just saw that though. Dude, I was gonna bring it up at one point anyway. I saw that the marquee for it. I'm like, why? And I just realized, wait, I'm standing where his crotch is, aren't I? Because I walked right up to it. I'm like, wait a second.
It's not right.
I know. And it's like the way to. It's just like. And especially if that one, I don't know if that one face reveal they showed was the real face or not. If it is, God, no. Don't give him a real hedgehog-looking face.
Oh, God, no.
If I had
it would be like a Sonic 06 all over again.
Oh, worse.
Okay, let me ask. If they made a movie of Chris Chan's Sonichu, would you want to see it?
Hell no.
What?
Chris Chan, the Sonichu.
Sonichu.
I'll link you to a video that explains it all. It's called Down the Rabbit Hole. I love that channel.
Don't look up some of his more not safe for work videos though.
No. Hey, anyone here ever watch that channel, Down the Rabbit Hole?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Oh, it's good. It's really good.
You've talked about it a couple times to me, yeah.
Yeah, I'll link you to it later. But hey, on a different note then, given how Tristan brought it up earlier, any thoughts on this Harley Quinn trilogy they're going to be doing? They're going to do Birds of Prey, and then Gotham City Sirens, and then yada, yada, yada.
I rolled my eyes when I heard about that.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I have this funny feeling, just one of the, I guess you could say spider sense that DC is going to soon blow up the entire thing with their DC movies.
Blow it up in a bad way or good way?
Blow it up as in we're gonna put it to bed for 2 or 3 years and then start.
Well, given with Aquaman.
Yeah, but it's not.
And Shazam.
Yeah, well, Shazam is. I will say I think Shazam will outperform Captain Marvel.
I'll be honest. I'm one of those who feel like I would like it to. I don't think so.
I think it will.
I think because you're taking account into comic fans, but you gotta take into account the layman. Yeah. Not John Layman, but Yeah.
I take into account the layman, and the layman don't care about Captain Marvel. And but Shazam kind of looks like Superman, so they're like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, there was a trailer, a behind the scenes feature when I was waiting for Dragon Ball Super. It was one of those before the trailers. They have those little behind the scenes stuff. There's a point where I saw Brie Larson smile, and I'm just like, hey, she smiled.
Hey,
it actually exists in the movie.
I need to go see Dragon Ball Super.
Oh,
I just hope she doesn't get replaced by a wooden plane. But then again, she is a wooden plane.
But
I'm way behind on Dragon Ball. I need to get back.
I saw a clip.
It's so good. Trust me, it is so good.
The clip that I saw was Broly in base form, absolutely tanking Super Saiyan God Goku or Super Saiyan Blue Goku. And I'm
yep.
I mean, absolutely.
Secret, this part has been made clear. You know how they explain his weird powers?
Hmm?
He's not the legendary. They don't go with that. He's a mutant. He actually gains the power of Ozaru without the need of going ape.
Oh.
And you know how much of a power boost Ozaru gives them, so
yeah. I mean, but when I saw he was absolutely tanking Super Saiyan Blue without, breaking a sweat, I said, "Look at this absolute unit."
Also, there's a first-person shot, a very good first-person shot in a Dragon Ball movie. Think about that a second.
Yeah,
it's kind of reminds me of that when someone did Goku that fan film, Goku wearing a GoPro or whatever.
Right.
That was great.
Yeah, there was a few good moments in there.
Yep.
That I saw. So.
Yep. Hey, on a different question, who here is a He-Man fan?
Oh, I would say I would.
Little bit.
Kinda.
I became one later in life. I got that. I'm looking at my bookshelf. I could see the top 10 episode DVD that was released by BCI several years ago.
Right now. But now, in the case of Chained or Optimus, have you guys seen my 2 recent videos about the DC line?
I have not yet checked it out.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, one, I do my Skeletor voice and that and the Thundercats He-Man crossover. Yeah.
Silence, you furry fool.
I'll get you for this, Robert.
Skeletor to King Randor. Skeletor to King Randor. Come in, you royal boob.
Now, just a minute. What about the way He-Man handles you?
Boing.
They were the best. I love 80s cartoon villains. They are the masters of insults.
Oh, and of course, don't forget Mumra. Ancient spirits of evil, transform this decayed form to Mumra, the ever-living.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Decepticons, retreat!
Of Cobra, retreat!
Decepticons attack!
Die, Autobot! But anyway, I know. My question: did any of you guys ever read the recent DC work?
No.
Nope.
Nah.
I'll just say this: if once they got off on the right footing, the miniseries was all over the place, but couldn't be helped. Once they got on the right footing, it actually, for one, it did She-Ra the way I was hoping. Even though I knew it was never going to happen, the recent show did, where it actually took her being Force Captain Adora. And actually have it be, instead she's Despera, and she actually is completely in believing of the Horde way, being vicious and actually killing.
Which is, if you work for Hordak, that's the way it should be.
Exactly. And they actually play it up, though. They play it up, though, and it actually comes off making more sense than what we got in the new show.
I mean, wasn't that where they were going to do, like, if they were going to do the last season of the
He-Man, the 2000s He-Man?
Yeah.
I don't think that was the last season. I think that was just supposed to be season 3.
Well, yeah, but I call it last season because, you know.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you see Aaron Sparrow posting the artwork to what could have been for Adora?
No, I had not seen that.
Oh, it's somewhere on his feed. It looks so good.
Because
that show was great.
It was so good. I was like, but I joked about it because there was one thing, and they did it a lot more in the earlier part of the season 1. They do it less like as they went on. You remember how everybody would just twirl their weapens for a little while before they started fighting? It's like, I got to show off.
Pipe, you got to get going. Or not feeling very good?
Yeah, that's why I've been mostly.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It was great having you. We could still keep going. It was great, though.
The blizzard finally hit, so apparently I really should go.
Yeah.
About to lose electricity. So I'm so sorry about that. I tried.
Hey, you did great so far up into this fine. It was great. All right. It was great having you, and I thank you for coming.
Yeah, anytime I'm free, just let me know when you want me again.
All right, very well. I mean, who knows? Maybe next week, maybe some other time.
Yeah, y'all have fun.
Feel better, Piper.
Thank you.
By Monday at least. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 But yeah, but seriously, it's like all these shows from the 80s.
Hello.
Toys.
Robert, you're going to have to repeat that. Chained kind of blocked you off.
Oh, sorry. I said if there's a reason why a lot of people bought this stuff, and it wasn't just because of the toys. That was a big part of it, but because people like the lore.
Well, yeah, I actually realized that. Like, I listened to a podcast once that said something. Am I coming in?
Yeah.
Okay.
My whatever is making a lot of noise.
Okay. But they did put a lot of thought behind it when they made these.
There we go.
I call it. Okay. I often call it what I call the 3 C's: comics, cartoons, and consumerism. Like they say, okay, let's come up with an idea behind this toy line, make a TV show out of it to promote it, and we'll take in some supplementary material, maybe in the form of a book or a comic. But yeah, they came up with a lot of lore because they were like, hey, if Star Wars could do this, anybody can. And it kind of started this whole cycle of what we saw. And now all those kids that like you said are our age now and are trying to bring it back and share it for a new generation. He-Man, Transformers, Batman, man, hell, even Nickelodeon's bringing back a lot of some of the old Nicktoons.
Yep, and I gotta say this as well. In a case, I think it helps when you have like a place like Mattel and Hasbro are very protective of their most of their shows. I think the only reason why the Netflix show ended up the way it did is because that was technically from, I think Paramount had the rights, and they're the ones who gave it to Netflix, and Mattel is basically like not that much influential in it.
Right.
But but like they are usually very protective. Part of the reason why the DC comic stuff had so many changes.
Reminds me of how Hans Saban was very kind of adamant. He was like, I don't want to sell Power Rangers, but he did it. And after several seasons of Disney, he's like, I want to buy it back. This is not what I thought of. What I asked Super Sentai to be brought over here.
Right, but I was just trying to say that we got to the point where you had one of the head honchos of Mattel basically story plotting the rest of the DC line and having Dan Abbott being the one just scripting all of his stuff.
Interesting.
That's where it got to by that point, and it was still good. I mean, to the point where that was like one of the best Skeletors besides, well, the Frank Langella version. Aside from that one, that was like one of the best Skeletors because they took the whole notion of him being, He-Man's uncle and playing up to how he had he had an unfair. He was like Loki. They gave him a lot of Loki in him.
That's interesting.
Because basically, it's like the whole notion of, he was meant to be king because he was the oldest, but because he was a bastard child and he was half Gar, which were known for being the ones that assassinated King Grayskull long ago, there was no way they were going to allow it. But he was better than Randor. He was unfortunate because their father favored Randor over Keldor. He then basically is like, it's to the point where when Keldor saved Randor from being abducted by a Horde soldier, what happened? The father kept saying, "Oh, you did great, son." But father, it was Keldor saying, "No. See, this is a proof why you should be king and Keldor should be your advisor." It's like, what? Keldor did all the work.
Everybody getting this so far?
but you can see why. Then you had Hordak whispering, into his ear as he got older. So of course, there's no wonder why he eventually became Skeletor.
Yeah.
Shit.
Also, having the acid thrown in his face didn't help.
Yeah.
It was acid. It wasn't like in the 2000 show where it was a spell that blew up in his face.
I thought it was like an acid, it's like, and it like back, because didn't Randor like throw his shield up and it like flew back in his face when he did it?
That in the 2000 series, yes. In the DC comics, we don't know that. It just jumped to, it opened up with his face half melting.
Oh, okay.
But it got to the point where when he's like, he goes back in, to Randor because he needs his blood. He then, Randor even says like, "I'm lost without you." Then, brother, you are lost. It's like, jeez, what does that tell you?
And then did he at least go, yeah, when he said that?
By that point, his face, by that point, his face was still mostly melted, but it wasn't at that point. He wasn't a skeleton entirely yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Because I've got to close up the store and everything.
All right.
But I had a lot of fun. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. Thank you for being here.
It was nice meeting you.
Nice talking to
Nice
you.
to meet you guys. Bye.
Yeah, but it feels like we're kind of winding down already.
Well, after a discussion like this, I just want to watch all the 80s cartoons I used to watch. But starting of course, with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters. Those are my big two before I discovered Nickelodeon.
I still need to check out GoBots since I did the comic, especially after I get one commenter that told me, "Oh, the reason comic is nothing but in name only."
I watched GoBots. I mean,
way back at Hanna-Barbera series.
Yeah, believe it or not, despite my avatar, that I did enjoy GoBots for the time, because for me it was all about, oh boy, more giant robots fighting each other,
Yeah, the 80s was like the second big boom of like giant robots coming over here, both imports from Japan and original United States, because you also had Voltron and Robotech as well.
Yeah.
And all these things, and everybody was said the giant robots are popular. Like, we gotta catch in on it.
I mean, like for me, when of course, when Transformers came out, like if I'm going to rank my top 5 80s cartoons, it's going to be Transformers and then 4 others. And
what's number?
The animation errors are hilarious.
What are the others?
the animation errors from the 1980s cartoon.
Oh god, the Transformers Wiki has a whole section of that, and I'm just cracking up.
And I still remember how in the on the commentary for the Transformers the movie DVD, they kept pointing out some of it on the errors as well. And you know, it's always been something that Eric and I crack up about when we realize after the commentary pointed out you can't ever unsee it. You guys have seen the movie, obviously, right?
Oh, yeah.
The anime.
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
The point where
awesome.
after Astro Train gets on, you realize he transforms. They're all tumbling around in there like.
So then I go in all the robot voices. Ouch! Ow! Ow! Ouch! Ow! Ouch!
But you can so imagine that after you realize that. Every time you see that, and you're like, I can't unhear that now.
I mean, there was a lot of continuity problems. For one, like Snarl was just non-existent for some reason. They explained. Apparently, they did. There was a comic that came out. I think IDW did it.
I think.
And they explained where he was.
Oh, you mean the movie adaptation, or
the movie adaptation they did? Like what 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, and that was probably the last time that Bob Badarsky did something with Transformers.
Yeah, because they said like we're gonna. There's one thing we're gonna explain is where Snarl was because he was just there and then he wasn't.
Me Grimlock, no care. Me King.
Me King.
Oh, and remember when was it when Devastator double axe handled Sludge and like his eye?
I didn't see that as an error. I just saw it as a goofy moment. Like,
it was still like in that seriousness that was going on at the time. Like it was just kind of weird.
That was the Dinobots throughout that movie. They added the comic relief and serious, like, excuse me.
I like. Oh, did y'all ever play the War or False?
Yes. Yeah. When it even included the Celian Soul Army, Barth, or whatever.
They even had the moment where when Sledge is coming in. No,
excuse me.
Slag. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name. Slag. When he came into the thing, he just goes, "Excuse me." Like,
I loved it. One thing I loved about that is how they basically made Grimlock explain that his aggression was turned up, hence his dumbness. But they were the Black Ops, and he felt like Optimus is stupid. It's like, wait a minute. Did they take from Simon Furman's run?
Yeah, from War Within. Yeah.
Yeah, because I felt like they took that from Simon Furman's run, where it's basically like, Grimlock always insulted Optimus because he's like, you bad leader, me be great leader.
Me Grimlock was jealous of Optimus Prime.
Either of you guys ever read the Regeneration 1 series where Simon Furman wrapped up the original Marvel run?
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, only in the 54th part in a 4-part miniseries.
No, 84th, and then it was it went from there to all the way to it wrapped it all up. Now, obviously, it wasn't what he originally would have wrapped up. For one, it actually includes the Transformers multiverse, but basically, it actually brings finality to everything. And a key part of the story is they cut themselves off from the rest of the Transformers multiverse. And Hot Rod ends up becoming Rodimus. But then you realize, oh wait, how can he do that when the Matrix of Leadership was destroyed in the original, during the original Marvel run? Simple, time travel. He went to an alternate universe that was where the movie went badly, really worse, and he took it the Matrix of Leadership from that universe after he saw his other self get killed.
Oh. It's a good idea.
No.
But again, I like Furman's work. He is very good.
Yeah, I loved War Within, back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
That whole series. That was really good.
Yeah.
I like one comic, the Mirror Universe, too. That was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. I know. I love that.
The coolest thing from that Dreamwave War Within was Cup was talking shit to Grimlock. And he was saying something like, he said, you just think you can come in and just say me Grimlock badass and everybody's supposed to listen. Well, what are you going to do this time? And he throws Cup against the wall and he goes, me Grimlock badass.
Hey Grimlock, look, Cup's war stories. You're living in one right now.
Because I sometimes do fan fiction, but I always openly acknowledge these are alternate universes. I actually at one point in one of my stories, I had a bit of a toyful love triangle between Bumblebee, RC, and Hot Rod. It was a case where Hot Rod and Bumblebee had a big crush on RC. RC didn't make a decision, but she was liking Hot Rod, and Hot Rod being the jock, Judd Nelson and all that. Just things like, hey, she's my girl bot. I am not your girl bot. Things like that. And then at one point where I kept say, okay, keep your gear shift in your shaft.
Yeah. In your crankshaft.
I'm just picturing, because you mentioned Judd Nelson. Yeah, I have a question. Does Stan Bush know you raided his wardrobe?
Sam Bush. So awesome.
How much Stan? I did not realize until like a few weeks ago how many freaking songs Stan Bush did for different movies.
I know.
I think the only one bigger than that was Kenny Loggins, given Caddyshack, Top Gun, Footloose, and all these movies. But yeah, Stan Bush. Let's see, Transformers. Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme. There was a Sailor Moon song in the 90s.
Oh yeah, that one. Can you believe that they actually got him to do a song for Sailor Moon?
The deep dub, yeah.
You know about that, right?
Yeah.
She's got the power.
Have you ever seen the sad attempts by Stan Bush to try to get a song onto the a more recent Transformers soundtracks?
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Where he kind of changed himself, but it's like, dude.
He tried to do like a Linkin Park style.
Didn't he later do a proper version later on?
Yeah, he did a more updated version of the Touch. Yeah, and it was.
I'm a big fan of Linkin Park, but yeah,
not Bush.
I remember when Linkin Park first came on MTV2, and I'm like, who are these guys? Because I was big into rap rock at the time. I was starting to get tired of Limp Bizkit, and I thought, so as soon as these guys come on, and I'm like, this is like Nine Inch Nails meets hip hop meets everything my teenage adolescence was when I was angry.
I'll be honest, I first heard Linkin Park from AMVs.
Well, yeah, they were like the big A&B guys. Every time there was a Linkin Park song with a Dragon Ball Z song, you're like, download.
To the point where it got ridiculous.
I mean, it didn't help that the original American dub of the DBZ movies always had new metal or rap metal songs during the fights, like Drowning Pool, Breaking Point, all these guys.
Okay, now on a different note, be honest, guys, because I really want to ask this. After, in my case, Spider-Man Far From Away From Home, because that trailer got me a little bit anyway, how hard is Marvel going to have to work now to get your butts in the seats with any future movies?
It's gonna be tough. Well, for one thing, the Far From Home trailer was not a teaser; it was just a trailer. They needed. I know. Teaser. I mean, they're saying, "Here's the new teaser trailer." That's not a teaser trailer. That's a.
I know. Endgame was more of a teaser.
Yeah. So, I mean, it would take a lot because, like I said, I've got no interest in Captain Marvel. I will see Endgame because, for me, unless Endgame has a good ending, I don't see me going out of my way to see a Marvel movie in the theater.
Right? Because it feels like you're almost like obliged to see now because of everything built up.
Right.
But and that's why I said in one of my videos, this feels like the year of obligations. Mm-hmm. It really does when you think about how many movies especially are wrapping up or having revivals or something. You feel like as a fan, you almost feel like you're obligated.
It feels like you're burning out.
I would say this. One movie I feel I'm actually excited for, even though I keep seeing everyone dissing on it. That Men in Black International trailer looked a lot better than it had any right to in my mind.
I had to check that out. I haven't seen that yet.
It helped. I mean, it helped that it had you have Thor and Valkyrie. It's like you already know those two have great chemistry.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, the movie that I'm most looking forward to this year is King of the Monsters, Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yes.
That's gonna be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Especially King Ghidorah.
Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra.
I hear Anguirus appears.
Yeah, there's going to be an Anguirus. Apparently, Kumonga, the spider, is going to be in it.
Well, I think we saw a little hint of that before.
Mm-hmm. And what's really cool is because the director, because he talked about if he does a sequel, who he would like to put in it, and he says he never said, he said I like Anguirus, but he didn't say he was going to put him in the sequel because now people are saying, well, wait a minute, maybe he's in this one, because I think he said he would like to put Gigan and Biollante in the.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh
yeah.
shoot.
Now let me ask you this.
Godzilla? Yes, let's do that. Right.
Yeah. Now let me ask you. I can tell you guys are Godzilla fans. What's your favorite version of Mechagodzilla? For me, it's Mechagodzilla 2.
I was going to say that. Yes, I enjoyed Mechagodzilla 2.
Yeah, I know. I always hear so many people don't like that version.
I guess they're very partial to the classics or the last.
I like the design of 3. You know, the
Kiru, yeah.
Yeah. But I prefer 2 because
that one almost killed him.
Yeah, the weaponry and everything like that. It's funny. Oh, since you like Godzilla, I'm gonna do a little feeling. And my friends, he's basically the overall director. We're doing a Godzilla versus Gigan abridged.
Ooh,
you don't say.
Oh well, that sounds awesome.
And it all became because one night we were like, let's have a movie night. All the lads got together. We were gonna watch a movie, right? And we said, let's watch a Godzilla movie. We'll watch Godzilla versus Gigan. And the whole time I was like, we were just making jokes, right?
Oh, you were basically being Mr. Science Theater because I remember watching their 2 Godzilla episodes.
Yeah.
No, I thought that meant yes.
And so, and then there's the parts. If you remember the English dub of that, Godzilla and right?
I'm angry as something funny's going on. You better go check.
So we took that, and we were like, you know what? Let's just have fun with this. And so I'm the voice of Godzilla. And but there's like so many scenes. Like there's one scene with Godzilla. Oh, we have it where it's the main character in the movie ends up getting like drugged.
Yeah.
Right? And when he gets drugged, that sound that it made in like Yoshi's Island when he died, like that, So he starts going to a trip, and it's just like Godzilla from an old like a Japanese commercial. Godzilla like just going down the street buying groceries.
Oh yeah.
And the guy's asking, he said, "Hey Godzilla, you hungry?" And I go, "No thanks, Jerry."
Hey, with
there's a commercial for Dennis Barkley and Godzilla.
Oh, Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah, a comic adaptation of that.
That's right.
Oh yeah, I watched the Linkara one. It was hilarious.
It was. Barkley is Earth's greatest warrior.
Did you ever see the Snickers commercial with Godzilla in it?
Oh,
that was hilarious.
No, I haven't seen that.
He's on ATV.
I just want to watch kaiju movies. So right.
I remember the Dr. Pepper commercial.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I will say this. You know what is still one of my favorite human character in all of Godzilla? Probably the only one that anyone can remember because she appeared so much was Miki Sakusa from the Heisei era.
The telepath, yeah.
Yeah, I love that character. And the fact is, she's had the most appearance out of anyone.
Yeah.
For good reason. For good reason. She was a great character.
Mm-hmm.
Great actress. She hadn't done much. In fact, I heard her health isn't that great or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I can't think of anyone else aside from any comic appearances.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever read the IDW comics?
Oh yeah. I read Godzilla in Hell was amazing.
Yep, but what about Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters all the way up to the and the ongoing, and then they had the other series.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah. I think the one thing, and it didn't involve Godzilla, which was good, was Anguirus versus Destroyer.
Oh yeah.
Destroyer.
And he actually won. Actually won. He beat Destroyer.
Probably because Destroyer is practically meant for defeating Godzilla, not anyone else.
True, but it was just because like you look because they even had like a size difference and all that stuff. So there's like you would think like everybody's like there's no chance. We're all gonna die because Anguirus is no way he's gonna stop it, and he fucking did it. He tanked them.
Now, let me ask you this: with Godzilla Final Wars, do you at all subscribe to the notion that that's Junior?
No.
Nope.
No.
I do. I'm one of those who thinks it is.
I guess it could be Junior. The only thing that throws me off is because Minya's in it.
Well, that could be because that's now Junior already existed, so now you have Minya for Junior.
Godzilla says I should fight my own battle.
We're gonna bridge that next. What we're doing with that one, we're taking Son of Godzilla and Revenge of Godzilla and combining it into one movie.
Oh God!
Sounds like something an anime would used to do back in the day, where they would combine episodes into movies.
If you remember Son of Godzilla, you remember when like the reporter guy comes on to the island, and there was 2 parachutes, right? He said one was him and one was his gear, right?
Yeah.
So the joke is going to be one was him and one was his son, but his son gets lost.
So let me guess, a monsterator.
Yeah, no, it's not a monsterator. He's gonna be hanging out with Minya. So being in there.
Now, how are you gonna bridge the joke of that kid on the car?
Say what now?
There's that bit with the kid on the car, and you're like, "What the heck is he doing?"
Oh, What is see with the with Revenge, we're cutting out most of everything except for the Monster Island stuff.
Oh, because I was gonna say, how would you ever do anything like that with the kid in the car being like, why is he humping the car?
Speaking of cars, I gotta say this, switching the camera for a second. What was with the kid in the traffic accident?
Oh, and with Gamera.
Yeah, and that one, and I'm like, why? Just
now, one other question: have you guys ever seen seen either the Hasai Gamera or the Rebirth of Mothra trilogies?
I've seen Rebirth of Mothra, yeah,
but not Gamera.
Seen one from the new Gameras. Or the newer Gameras, I should say.
Oh, any of you forced yourself through the Netflix Godzilla movies? And I did. I'm sure I'm capable of handling the worst torture possible after experience that. I keep on hearing some people say it's bad, but I don't know if it's that bad.
It had moments. It could have been better, you know. You could tell it was different, you know. The more interesting thing, in all honesty, the more interesting thing is the source book for those movies, where they explain how they got to the point they're at.
Oh yeah, I heard about those source books.
Yeah, it's like they portray, like it's really cool because I think at one point they have Gigan, and he's like before he's cyberized, right?
Oh,
so he shows up, he like fights Godzilla. Of course, Godzilla stomps him, so the humans cyberize him, so he can continue fighting, and and because he was like he kept up the good fight kind of thing for the humans, but when he eventually dies. The guy who's like the commander of the Earth Defense Force or whatever, he commissioned that Gigan be buried with honors.
Oh,
because he was quote such a quote good soldier, So
that's one that fits with the Japanese mindset.
Yeah,
and I mean that's wow.
It gives Gigan more of a purpose than like me. I got a tummy saw and
Well, I gotta get going, guys. I had a lot of fun doing this stream. I've done this for a very long time. Thank you for inviting me, Robert. And
no problem.
You have a good night.
Yep. Well, I think it's about time to wrap things up anyway. It's been about 3 hours, so yep. So those of you still left in this, and you guys good with that?
It's good with me.
Yeah, I guess. I know I joined kind of late anyway, so I thought I'll stay for an hour. Go until Rob's either I have to go get something to eat or Rob says we cut it off.
Yep. All right. So
you all have a good night.
Yep. Right, see ya. So yep. Anyone that's still left in the stream, thank you all for being here, and we'll catch you all later. You guys want to give your sign offs? You want to pimp your own podcast or video stream as well?
Yeah. Well, if you get a chance, guys, just go check out Graded 0.5. It's exactly how it sounds. It's spelled out Graded 0.5 on YouTube. That's where we do our weeknight live streams.
Okay, just give me a link and DM me a link, and I'll post it in the description.
Yeah.
All right, and Eric, I know you don't have much, so just simply give your own little sign off.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for having me as usual. People can follow me on Twitter at EasyEmail. Game 3000, I believe.
I'll put you in the description too.
Right. And remember remember, I'm the man with 1,000 voices in my head. So every time I'm on Rob, give me a request to do cartoon character, celebrity, Muppet, anyone want to see, and I'll see if I can do them and see if I can impress somebody. But until next time. If anyone's caught in this snowstorm tonight, please be safe. Listen to weather reports.
Yes.
And reports. Stay indoors as long as you can, or at least someplace more. Take warm and again, be safe. And to all the kids, remember Martin Luther King Day this Monday. So celebrate the man, and you get a free day off from school.
Okay.
So until then, I will see you guys later.
Take care. See ya.